Hello and a warm welcome to the grand finale of the Trans Am Series. This, of course, the Mission Foods Austin Speed Tour and the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series. Hi, I'm Jonathan Green, and with me on the set today, we've decided to come amongst it, Scott Goodyear, and we've also got Evan Slater, not racing this weekend, but is going to be a big insight for us during this race, because he was racing this very race last year and has competed against all the others that are out there today. Scott, it's a bit of deja vu, because we were here this time last year, and the championship was coming down to the wire, and we all thought Matos had got it. But then Merrill comes out of nowhere because Matos had problems, and we've got a similar situation this weekend, but last year was amazing.
You know, and I always think motor racing can be so unpredictable. You know, let's go back a race at VIR, and we thought everything was going to be wrapped up there, of which it didn't. Not only for Trans Am, but also for the series that I run for F4 and FR, we thought we were leaving with champions. We didn't. We had to come here. The same stuff for Trans Am. So right now for Brent Cruz, yes, he's just got to get out there and finish. But when you look, as we said last year, anything can happen. I mean, we were putting our money down in Vegas for Rafa Matos last year. It didn't happen. You know, as race car drivers, as we'll tell you, you worry about everything until the checkered flag comes down.
No question about it. Well, as we said, you know, we're down to a bit of deja vu because Merrill's back in it again. He's been chasing hard on the man of the moment, and that, of course, is Brent Cruz, which is why we've come to Nitro Motorsports. We're going to talk to Nick Tucker in a moment, but I want to bring Evan in here real quick. The nerves, you're right here, you're right by the cars, you know what this feels like, and for Brent Cruz, just 15 years of age, you're another youngster coming through. The nerves must be coming up now.
Yeah, definitely. Brent Cruz is probably trying to deal with the nerves right now. He knows he just needs to get a top 10 finish to really secure this championship. But as you were pointing on earlier, that's really sometimes is difficult to do. There's a lot of factors out of your control, so Cruz is just hoping the best for those and hoping that he won't have anything unlucky happen, any mechanical failures. He's just going to try and keep his race clean, focus on what he can control, which is driving his car and driving it well. And yeah, he's just going to be focused forward, focused on passing Merrill and trying his best.
We've always had some interesting news already, guys, because, of course, in the points, Cruz leads it with, what, 991 at the moment. He's 43 points ahead, but he was further ahead because of pole position. You get points for pole position, and Merrill's done what he needs to do. He was here at Formula One racing Porsches, so he's had the most experience in race trim in the last few weeks, but he has a lead now of just 43 points, so it's possible, but it's a big ask.
It's a very big ask, but you know, when you look at what's going on right now, this racetrack, very difficult, a lot of room for passing, a lot of room for error. I saw it in our series in the last couple of days, so can take nothing for granted, and overall, you got to get to that checkered flag, and we talked about that many times before. So I'm just as anxious to come along and do this television program with you, just even as a fan, because you never know what's going to happen.
Well, the other big news story, and I'm going to bring Nick Tucker in a moment, if you don't mind, Evan, just handing over the mic real quick. I want to bring Nick in because, as you know, the crew chief of Brent Cruz, Nick Tucker, has been with this youngster, just 15 years of age, throughout the season and throughout his career in Trans Am. But we've hit a massive story right on the eve of his championship. He literally needed a cruise, and I don't mean to use that word too stupidly, but really it was going to be an easy weekend. But suddenly it's changed, Nick. He's hurt his foot in training. First and foremost, how's your boy, and how's he getting prepared? He's just about to go.
You know, really, he's doing okay. His foot, you know, his foot's hurt, but luckily it's the gas foot, and it hasn't seemed to affect him at all. We've had great pace all weekend. The car's been handling well, you know, so I feel really good about it. He feels really good about it, and we just got to go do our thing that we've done for the last couple of years, and we'll be fine.
For those that don't know, the gas foot actually is better because you're not stomping on that as much as you would be the brake.
You're always using it very smoothly, almost like there's a hard-boiled egg in between your foot and the pedal, and you just want to crack the shell. The brake, you're on a lot harder, and with these guys now coming out of karting, these guys are all braking with their left foot. So, I mean, you know, that scenario, there's 160 miles an hour here on the brakes, and a lot of brake work. But yes, you know, we just spoke to him a few minutes ago. We were over underneath the tent, and Brent was just sitting back there, very calm, cool, and collective. Seemed like a 25-year-old, not a 15-year-old.
Nick, before you go, obviously the car's going out, but I want a last thought from you. How proud are you of this phenom that is Brent Cruz? I mean, he's taken this whole series by storm.
Brent's an incredible boy. He's a great human, and I've had the pleasure of working with him since he's 7 years old, and the sky's the limit for the kid, and I'm glad to be a small part of it. I'm glad Trans Am's able to be a part of his story, and I'm looking forward to seeing him close it out today.
Well, listen, you got some work to do. Go and help your boy. We'll get Evan back in here, but thank you, Nick, and best of luck. May the best man win.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you later.
No problem. Well, like we say, it's a two-horse race in many ways. Thank you, Nick. Bringing Evan back in here. But Evan, as a driver, two-horse race, you were saying to me earlier, you know, you were in this race last year. There's a lot of guys who are racing for their careers here. It's not just about a championship for them.
There's a lot of battles here this weekend. So you obviously have the big ones with Nitro Motorsports, Brent and Thomas Merill. So those are the big championships that we're looking at. Those are fighting for the championships, but there's so many more battles. You got starting in second place, Nathan Hearn. He's trying to figure out what he's doing next year, so he's really trying to get a good result, get his first win of the series, starting in second. And then right behind Nathan, you have Connor Zillich, who's on a 3-win streak. He's been killing it recently. So he's trying to continue that streak, doing really well. He's trying to get a good finish, and he's going to try and go for another win. You also have Rafa Matos. Rafa Matos is normally right up front, easily a top 5 driver, but he had a ball joint failure in qualifying, so he's going to be starting in 28th position. So definitely way lower in the field than he's used to starting. So he's going to have a fun time fighting through the field like he tried to do at VIR.
Well, I hope you're enjoying the noises and sounds of muscle car racing, because we can't get you closer to the action than this. We're unfortunately going to be back in the booth in a moment, so this is our best thrill of the day. But tactically, you've had some close finishes. I won't go there, but you know what it's like to fight for a championship and fight for a race right to the very end. It's all about everything you've learned. You've got to bring everything to bear, haven't you?
And I think that we summed that up before, because essentially there's a driver that knows how to get the job done. He's very fast, he's very smooth. Yes, he has an injury with his gas foot, but on the other side of it, as he just said to us a couple of seconds ago, once I get in the car and start the car, the adrenaline's going to take over, and he's not going to feel that pain.
Well, that was my next question. In terms of that, 100 miles, long way. After about, he's going to hope for a safety car to relax it a little bit, isn't he?
Well, you know something, it's interesting you say that. I'm not sure, because a safety car brings in, man, my foot hurts, and then the pain starts to go in. As long as you're strong enough upstairs in your mind to put that away into a different room and close the door, you're fine. And as we said to him a second ago, you've got youth on your side. You're 15 years of age, so I think he's going to be fine. And, you know, the car's got to finish. He's got to finish, but the car's got to finish. There's so much on the line here. You hate it as a driver that it comes down to the very last race. But that's what we love about motor racing. That's what we love about sports.
Well, that's the beauty of it. Last comment from you, Evan. Who's your money on? Because obviously Merrill now has a real chance.
Oh man, my money on for the championship, I think I have to go with Brent. So Brent is he's still leading the championship by 43 points. So no matter where they finish on track, if Merrill beats Cruz is still going to win the championship. So if nothing goes crazy, if they both finish the race consistently, my money's definitely going to be on Cruz.
Well, no question about it. The one thing we haven't mentioned is the actual circuit itself. Of course, we're here at Formula One, and that is a big factor here, because this is such a hard circuit to get right, especially in these muscle cars. You've got the S's, you've got the stadium section, you've got that long, big straight, which really helps the muscle cars. So we're going to head back down to the booth, but while we do, let's take a closer look at the circuit of the Americas.
Really important because it leads on the long back straightaway. Turn 20 is really important. It leads on the long front straightaway. And turn 1 is key because it's a huge break zone. A lot of overtakes happen there. I really like the last 3 corners, 16, 17, 18, and 19. There's a great flow there. It's really, really fast. And our cars were always really good through there.
Desire. For 160 years, Motul has helped engines and drivers go faster, further, and stronger. Tested in the heat of battle, driven with passion, with one aim, to give you superior powertrain protection and performance. Motul.
You've got a business to run, big and heavy products to ship, and customers who need them now. When you've got the right driver and the right equipment, you can bet on a spectacular result. Bennett understands complex logistics and puts the best team, the most time, and the latest technology into every customer relationship. So you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the race. Let us handle the rest.
Together, we can move anything.
As manufacturing problem solvers who navigate design complexity and compressed timing, the Three-Dimensional Services Group offers 7 facilities and 500,000 square feet of dedicated, on-demand manufacturing floor space. Metal or plastic, we support a wide range of industries, from some of the world's best-known companies to startups, with an unparalleled investment in leading-edge manufacturing technology and automation to keep all phases of a project in-house.
Taking on the challenge, moving ahead. It's about going further, faster. At Customers Bank, we know that great things happen when you combine the best of technology with a deeply human touch. So we offer a wide range of personal, small business, and commercial banking solutions with outstanding personal service, giving you the edge you need to take on tomorrow.
Welcome to the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series here. Championship Day here Sunday, Circuit of the Americas for the Mission Foods Austin Speed Tour. I am with Thomas Merill, who, let's get a shot of this, our Motul Pole Award winner. But then, Thomas, you won your championship here last year by winning the race, by having a perfect weekend. You're still in contention for the championship, but you have to have another perfect weekend, and so far, so good.
Yeah, I guess we have a flair for the dramatic, but we wouldn't have it any other way. That's just what Trans Am racing is all about. And yeah, we're in a pretty good spot. The reality is it's the same as last year. If we focus on ourselves and we do what we know we can do, we'll be just fine. So we hope to see this Bennett Mustang in victory circle, and what happens after that is up to fate.
Now, we talked just, 10 minutes ago, and you said you're actually presenting the Young Guns Award at our end-of-the-year banquet tonight. Season and a half ago, you thought the Young Guns was an unbelievable idea, so great. But now the battles that you've been having with these Young Guns, how are you feeling about it now?
You know, me personally, winning a race doesn't mean the same if you're not beating the best. And so having the Young Guns Award brings a lot of the best and brightest talent to Trans Am. That's really what it's all about. So getting to race against these kids and watch their careers grow and seeing the amazing talent that they have is really, really cool. So I wouldn't have it any other way.
And now, usually before each race, I catch you and Brent Cruz having just a nice, polite 10-minute talk. Championship is between you two. Did that nice, polite championship talk happen?
Not yet, actually. I was just going to go over there and pretend to trip him or see what I can do to make things interesting. But no, we have a great relationship, and whatever happens after today, we're still going to be good friends.
Awesome. Thomas Merill, good luck out there, our champion last year. We'll see what he can do today. Then we've got Nathan Hearn here starting second, doing really well with Cube 3. But a big story today, you'll see here, is Brent Cruz. Connor Zillich talking to him. But Brent, we haven't spoken yet this weekend, but I hear you have a little bit of a right ankle sprain. Is that correct?
Yeah, unfortunate deal playing basketball. So still feels fine here, thankfully. Got some medicine, and thankfully I feel just as good as new. So we're going to hopefully it stays good throughout the race, and we can have a clean show and just work our way to the front.
So you've had a couple of 20 to 30-minute sessions out there to feel it out. How do you think it's going to do after 100 miles?
I think it'll be fine. I think adrenaline is a beautiful thing, and we'll just we'll ride on that.
I know you've won several championships in different iterations and in go-karts, but entering this, it's your championship to lose mentally. What are you telling yourself? Are you going to approach this like any other race?
Yeah, I think the reason we got here was just having a clear mind and finishing where we're supposed to finish. So we have a great piece here, qualified P3, and I think I left a little bit in the tank. So we'll take it as we can and hopefully just pretty much maintain our position.
Nice, I love it. Brent Cruz. Connor Zillich, you were such a story last year. Your epic fight with Thomas Merill. You do really well here at COTA. What's your strategy? The green flag drops, we go up to turn 1, and anything can happen. What are you hoping for at turn 1?
Yeah, I just want to keep it clean through the first lap or two and be able to have a shot at it the rest of the race. I know we got a really good car. We got messed up in qualifying in traffic there yesterday, so didn't get to show all we had, but I feel really confident in what we have. So as long as I can make it through the first lap or two and, get a shot at it, I feel like we got a really good chance. So just looking forward to finishing out the season strong. And, obviously there's a championship fight going on around me, but, I'm just going to go out there and do my job and hopefully get ourselves a win.
Perfect. Connor Zillich. Then over here, we've got Nathan Hearn. Good day. All the way from down under, doing really well, qualified second. Do you like Circuit of the Americas? This is the only track that you've done before. You had a really good finish here last year. So now, as a Circuit of the Americas veteran, what's your strategy?
I wouldn't say veteran, but look, I learned a lot here last year, and as you said, this year's been tough. I haven't done a single lap at any other track I've raced at. So, qualifying was really good. Finish up P2 is really good, but the traffic out there was really hit or miss. So, I could have had pole, definitely, and I could have been further back. So we'll see how the race sorts out. Not holding my breath, but I know we got a fast race car, and I'll give Merrill a run for his money at turn 1 and see if he can hold on.
I love it. Well, Nathan Hearn, all the way from Australia. So if you're watching from Australia, welcome. Let's come talk to Adrian Lostowski, who has a lot of experience here at Circuit of the Americas in different cars. So Adrian, green flag drops. You're kind of in the middle of the bunch. What's your plan?
We got a little messed up in qualifying with the traffic. So I think we qualified a little further back than we'd like. I think we'll be heading up front pretty quick. The Hawk brakes have been really good. I think watch for us out braking everybody in 2 straightaways. I think that's where we'll be gaining the most on everybody.
Nice. I love it. Adrian out here in this beautiful number 3 Hawk Performance car. But then we're going to come back here and talk to Brody Goble, starting 12th, running for the championship in our West Coast Series. There's 2 different series running here, which is why we have so many TA2 cars. But Brody, is this your first time at Circuit of the Americas?
Yeah, first time here at Circuit of the Americas. First time running with the big guys in the National Series. So it's going to be one of those things where you got to keep it smart because we're trying to wrap up this West Championship here, and we got a good position to start. But it's going to be tough trying to race my own race. But trying to hold myself back and maybe race these guys a little bit too. So we'll have some fun.
So Brody, you're from British Columbia, right, the Vancouver area, and we spoke on the phone a couple of months ago, and you're trying to put a plan to come and compete in the national championship, and this is such a great gauge. You got to feel pretty good starting 12th in such a competitive field in the Big Machine Vodka TA2 Series.
Yeah, absolutely. We're a privateer team, so it's always been my goal is to move up into that national series and try to put a ride together with some of the bigger teams and maybe compare some days and have a teammate out here. But we're really proud of our Brown Bros Racing team right now to put in this position our first go, and to be up here is awesome. So we'll hopefully bring it home in a good position today, and if all goes well, maybe crack a top 10 and wrap up the West Championship.
Perfect. Well, good luck. Represent the West Coast out there. I love it. Brody Goble. Then we're going to move over here and doing his job to spread. Let's come over here, Tony. Doing his job to spread Trans Am racing to the youth. You were probably about this age at your first Trans Am race at Watkins Glen, your grandson Luke. How does this feel, Tony?
How could you not be thrilled? It's been a phenomenal weekend. We've had over 420-something cars racing, but this is the belle of the ball. Let's face it, TA2 has grown so much. And to have this guy with me, I was exactly 10 years old at Watkins, so this is his 3rd year coming down to COTA, and it's become a family ritual. And he just welcomes all the drivers. He kind of runs with his grandpa, so it's cool stuff.
Now, what I love about this, Luke, I'm going to put you on the spot. Yesterday, with another series, you were wearing the correct tire manufacturer's hat. Now, today, with the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, you've got your Pirelli hat on, so you already know what you're doing from a PR stance. Are you having fun here?
I am.
Do you have anybody that you're hoping wins today's race?
I don't know. I just wish everyone good luck.
He wishes everyone good luck. You can't ask for any better than that. Tony Pirelli, good luck there. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have so many cars here. We're going to come up to the front of the grid. We've got our start command, but this is really fun. The Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series always puts on a good show here at the Mission Foods Speed Tour. So we are going to have an absolute blast here. And speaking of MAV TV, we've got CJ Olivares, the president, Mark Carter, the VP of sales here with MAV TV. And gentlemen, how are you doing? CJ, right? And then Mark, we met at Sebring at the beginning of the season, pretty excited. It seemed like halfway through the season, you enjoyed this so much, you're like, we got to go live on MAV TV. Have you had good success?
Absolutely, it's been a fantastic year, and we're bookending it here, being at COTA, and really excited to see the conclusion of the season.
How about you, Mark? Are you having a good time at this?
Always do. Trans Am's my favorite series, so it's been since 1997 I've been watching Trans Am. Can't wait.
That's awesome. So when you're talking to your friends and you're telling them, hey, I've got to go to Austin, Texas for the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series and the Trans Am race later on today, how do you explain this to your friends?
Pure adrenaline. All fun. It's a great time. Excellent racing.
And Mark, I don't know if you were paying attention last year, but the finish with Thomas Merill, Connor Zillich is kind of one for the ages. Will go down in Trans Am folklore. What are you expecting to happen today?
I think we're going to outdo it. Let's have a better finish.
Nice. I love it. So right now, SVRA has their Group 1 cars, a little Mini Cooper going by, and we've got some national championship with Bell Helmet going by. It's going to be loud, so gentlemen, I need you to get really loud when you give the most famous words in motorsports representing MAV TV. So make everybody proud. Gentlemen, take it away.
Drivers, start your engines!
Nice job, man.
Well, with those words from MAV TV and that beautiful roar of muscle cars here at the Circuit of the Americas, welcome once again to the Circuit of the Americas. Before I introduce, and I'm really so excited for this because we've got the grand finale, I've got a young buck, wannabe world champion in any form of racing right alongside me in Evan Slater, and then a man who's been there, done that, and got the t-shirt. And so it's going to be interesting to hear their insights as to how this goes on, and I'm of course referring to Evan Slater and Scott Goodyear. And really excited for this weekend's last race, the last hurrah of the weekend and of the year. It's been a fantastic year. We started back in Sebring, we went to NOLA, we went to Road America, Watkins Glen, you name it. We even went to St. Louis, and next year Canada is on the cards, but you can't miss COTA. This is the place we all want to be. As you can see, it's a bit misty this morning, a bit foggy. It was yesterday, but it usually clears up here by the morning's end, and we usually get some excellent sunshine, and we are expecting 80s. So, before we get amongst it all, just want to remind you, Cruz leads the championship by 9.91. He's 43 ahead of Merrill, who got a couple of points back by taking the pole. He's on 9.48. Zillich, third, he's the man of the moment, and he's on 8.76. He can't really do much about the championship, but boy, can he get another win. Matos, though, on 8.34. He had a problem in qualifying. We'll talk more about that in a moment. And we welcome our viewers on MAV TV here across America, and all of you tuning in on our live stream around the world. This is Trans Am. This is the Big Machine Vodka Coolers Spike Coolers TA2 Series. I'll say it again. This is the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series. It's the final round, and this man, Thomas Merill, is trying to pull off the impossible. But he did it last year. Guys, my first thought for you, especially as both of you have looked at this the same way I have, but I want to get your racing heads on here. Nathan Hearn, he made me smile when he said, I'll just see if I can get ahead of Merrill. How does Merrill play this? Because he knows how much Hearn wants to win, and he doesn't have to win. How does he play the start?
Turn 1 here at COTA, uphill. There's a big curb on the inside. If the car hits that, you're going to have car problems. But you know, when I think about this racetrack here, yes, it's wide. Yes, there's lots of racing room, but you got to get through turn 1, exactly what I told our F4 and FR guys. And for the most part, we were successful, sometimes not.
Hold your thought, Evan, because I'm going to do the grid first of all. As you can see, Merrill in pole, then Nathan Hearn alongside. Brent Cruz, our championship leader, starts on the second roll against his arch nemesis and mate, though, Connor Zillich. Annunciata, third here last year. Austin Green has been flying. Cameron Lawrence coming in for Butt this weekend, so that's good to see. And Caleb Bacon just getting in better and better on row 4 in this race. Tyler Gonzalez coming in. He was the GR Toyota champion, and he comes in. Misha Goikberg lines up on row 5. Then down further on row 6 is Lostowski and Brody Goble. Goble coming from the West Championship. We'll get into that as well, because we've got a bunch of West Championship drivers coming here. Dylan McAvern and Sean Higorani, and then Darren Mock and Keith Prochuk on row 8. Row 9 is Ben Mayer. Josh Sarge on row 9, and row 10 is Barry Bowes and Adam Andretti with the ultimate headers. Further down, Boris Said Jr., Thad Moffitt in row 11. Row 12 is Roy Fulmer, also from the West Championship. Tim Lynn, Kyle Kelly, Rafa Matos. Yes, I said he had problems. We'll talk to Evan about that in a moment. But Rafa Matos in the three-dimensional surface is not where we're used to seeing him. And then Atwell and Abate, Tommy Sheehan and Eric Caton. Massive field of over 40 cars. Doesn't get any better for our grand finale. Peterson and Young, Perront and Rumberg on row 17. Row 18 sees Winston and Accardo Jr., Maynette and Nesbitt, Matt Gray and Richard Rook. That's row 20. It just goes on, and it's going to be hard to do overtaking in McAllister and Carroll, Ethan Barker and LaPaglia. Michael LaPaglia, a regular here, but he got a penalty, and Guthrie and Chris Durbin. Evan, your thoughts, first of all, on what we said about the start, but also tell us what happened to Rafa.
Yeah, so this is going to be an exciting race. So obviously at the start, there's going to be a lot of different, techniques, different ways people are going to attack the start. So you obviously have the championship contenders, Cruz and Thomas Merill. They're going to be trying to play it safe. But then you also have Nathan Hearn. He's just trying to win. He's not necessarily in the championship fight, so he's just going to try and be as aggressive as he can to try and get that Cube 3 racing car out in front. You also got Connor Zillich. He has had a great streak so far, so he's going to be super aggressive to try and get a good result too. And then Rafa Matos, he had an issue in qualifying. He broke a ball joint. So that's really disappointing for him. So that broke on his second lap. So he only got 1 lap completed. So that's why he's starting so far back in 28th, I believe. So, I mean, that just shows this track has big curbs, and you have to hit the curbs to go faster in here. So in a qualifying lap, you got to be killing the curbs every single lap. But that does put a lot of wear and tear on your car. So in this 100 miles, you're going to have to see a balance between being super aggressive, hitting all the curbs, getting the most lap time you can, while keeping your car safe and keeping it so it can actually last 100 miles.
As we look at Thomas Merrill, the sensible thing would be, all right, Hearn, you knock yourself out. You take the win. I'm quite happy to take second. But racing drivers don't think the way I think.
No, and that's exactly true, and we were just talking about turn 1 a second ago. That's going to be the challenge for him, and as you're talking about, making sure that the guys that really don't have too much in the line right now aren't going to come in there and barge in there and maybe hit a car, hit a tire, hit something like that nature and put your car at risk, and then you don't have the race car you need to go do the rest of the race. So there's a lot of risk-reward ratio that goes on in turn 1, lap 1. I always tell our guys, get in through turn 1, settle in for the first lap and go racing, see what type of car you have. But, I'm a little older, and I just retired as a driver. You're a young driver, so and I have to tell a story real quickly here. You came here last year and qualified 4th, which is outstanding, and it's a message to my young drivers. You missed the drivers' meeting, and they put you back to the back of the pack. You started 54th.
I knew you'd get that.
Yes, so it's important to understand understand that you have to make sure you follow the rules and regulations, but for you, you know this racetrack. To qualify fourth in this group here, you understand what you have to do. And you just described how you have to abuse the car to go fast. So for me, I'm going to sit back and watch to see if the guys are going to get to the end. When I say that, I'm thinking about Brent Cruz.
Yeah.
It might not be him. It could be a mechanical.
Yeah. I mean, for Brent Cruz, he really just has to finish. It's not who beats each other. Like, if Merrill beats Cruz or either way around, it doesn't matter. They both need to finish. Cruz needs to get a top 10. So the way the driver Cruz is, the quality of a driver, he's going to get a top 10 if he doesn't have mechanical issues. So he just has to keep the car clean, avoid contact, and just make sure that he finishes this race.
And that's the key, as you say. A top 10 is all that that Cruz needs. And you'd have to say, on paper, Brent Cruz really deserves this championship. And were it to go any longer, his mate Zillich would also be in contention. It's just unfortunate that Zillich didn't start winning till, well, he actually won at Atlanta, but he was up and down a little bit, and he had a disqualification or two. And so, it's just been an amazing season for the Silver Hair Racing team. But Zillich and Brent Cruz, and I called him a phenom earlier, I'm just so proud that we have been part of their upbringing. The same for you, Evan. It's great to see youngsters of your age coming to us before you head out and achieve what you're going to obviously achieve. It's so obvious to us. Same with Hearn, same with Annunziata, and to a certain extent, the new guy that we've got here this weekend, Tyler Gonzalez. His first time in Trans Am, quite an achievement. He's 9th on the grid.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a really accomplished driver. He's driven a lot of things very successfully, so I'm not surprised to see him hop in these cars, get adapted really quick, and be really fast. But yeah, I mean, it's great to see. I haven't had a chance to talk to him, but I wonder how he likes these cars, because it's definitely a little different than some of the things he's driven, but I imagine he can't do anything but love them.
He said it was his first solid suspension car he's driven, but he's getting his head wrapped. So there you go. So we're getting up to the start of this race, the final race of the 2023 season. It started off with a great win for Matos, but from there on in, there's been plenty of other winners, and the likes of Zillich, of Annunziata, more importantly, Nathan Hearn and Brent Cruz have all been at the sharp end. Zillich coming good in Detroit and in Nashville. Dylan McAvern, always a great ringer to have here. Cameron Lawrence starts 7th. He too has a great pedigree. Misha Goikhberg, never count him out, in 10th position. And who knows, Rafa Matos may just come through. We're on board with him. We'll be on board with the Three-Dimensional Services Group throughout there. We'll be on board with Nathan Hearn. We'll also be on board with Lostowski in the number 10. There's your championship. Merrill, you can see it, 991 to 948. It looks impossible, but that's what it looked like last year. Zillich, though, could be the spoiler. Matos, let's see what he can do. Darren Mock wants to finish his season on a high. He's another youngster coming up. We've mentioned Austin Green. He's another one. And then you've got the likes of McAvern, Wolostowski, Thad Moffitt, first season. He's up there. So everybody, as you said earlier, Ethan, everybody wants to finish and go to the winter on a high.
I look at this racetrack, look how wide this is, and I'm just going to mention that because it looks so wide until it's not.
Yeah, until you got cars racing.
Yeah, exactly. Until you come down to turn 1, we talked about. Turn 11 is another hot spot. Turn 12 is another hot spot. 15 is another hot spot. So, yes, look how much space there is around the cars right now, but I will tell you that when we start to get racing, there's not a lot of racing room. Track limits is also an issue here.
Yep.
A lot of pavement on the outside of the lining of the track where you can see the red and white candy stripe on the inside there when they're going around 18, as we see. And so there's a track limit along here. If you take advantage of that and go outside the track limits to pass a car, you could be penalized. So there's a lot that drivers have to contend with here. And the other thing that happens too is that sometimes a driver pushes you on the outside of the line, outside of track limits. So the marshals are going to have to watch for that when they're up there in the stewards room.
It's the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series. 46 roaring muscle cars here at the greatest circuit in America, if not in the world. Formula One here 2 weeks ago, but now it's a chance for American muscle cars. Merrill in the blue and white in the Coke car on the right, and alongside him Nathan Hearn in the Cube 3 car. Who's going to get the run up the big hill to the first corner? We're about to find out as we go on board with the Three-Dimensional Services. Austin Green will be on board with him. Away they go. Merrill gets away well, but as you can see already, his arch rival is right there behind him in the number 70. We've got a turnaround. That's Ty Young. Or is that Abate?
That's Abate.
Yep, you're absolutely right. The Las Vegas, Michelle Abate, the only female in the race. Look at this side-by-side action as Merrill And it looks like our champion leader, Brent Cruz, coming close together, and Cruz has got the lead, has he? Or is that in Cruz in 4th place? No, it's
Nathan
Hearn
got the lead, and Zillich went through. So that was kind of like a tram line. So Nathan got Merrill out of line, and then Zillich just followed him right through. So Nathan is leading this race in the perfect position he wants to be in. So he's just trying to get a good first lap in, get those tires nice and warm, and get a good clean lap to try and pull as much of a gap on Zillich as he can.
Nathan Hearn made his debut here, got 4th place, Scott, last year, and now look at him. He has got bags of confidence.
And you see these cars moving around. We saw the onboard there a moment ago, and just feathering the throttle because the tires are not up to temperature, as you're talking about, Evan. It takes about a lap and a half until you really feel that the car is underneath you. All the dancing around that the cars are doing right now, you got to be cautious to make sure they don't hit a curb and bounce into somebody beside you, cut tires, all that sort of stuff. I was really surprised on the very first turn. Those guys were side by side on cold tires going through the S's. A little bit risky, but you know, they're race drivers.
Zillich going into 2nd place. Annunziata makes up a move. There's the 89 of Austin Green right in the thick of it. But Zillich definitely made a place up as we're back on board in 13 now with Austin Green in the three-dimensional services on board. This stadium section, very hard to overtake, but we've seen, certainly in single-seaters, guys making moves up the inside as he comes through 15. But now Zillich in 2nd place behind Nathan Hearn. So it's starting to settle down now. But Zillich goes in pursuit of Hearn. And Merrill now drops back to 3rd. And also Brent Cruz can see the eyes on the prize because he's got Merrill in front of him. And that's just where he needs to keep him.
Yeah, Cruz has done all he's needed to do this race. He's kept the car clean. He's going. He's in a good, safe 4th position. So he's just doing everything by the books to win this championship.
Well, they're not worrying about track limits. Look at them go. But we'll see what the stewards say.
So I think what I heard from the stewards is that they're very kind of chill about, I mean, that's not a very fancy word, but they don't really care too much about track limits besides in the S's.
Okay.
In the S's, there's 2 white lines, and you need to stay inside of the 2nd one. So you can't be going all the way cutting the apex like crazy, but you're allowed to put basically a whole car off the track before getting any penalty in the S's.
There you go. Good to know. So we're on board again with Austin Green. What a season he's had, this young 22-year-old for the three-dimensional services group. Of course, his dad was a spectacular NASCAR driver in Xfinity, got a championship in that back in the 90s, so he's got a pedigree to follow on, but he started racing quite late. He's not like Cruz. Ooh, that's a nice move by the 18 of Caleb Bacon. Bacon, again, another guy who's impressed me in the second half of the season. He's really got to grips with it and has qualified in the top 10 consistently in the last few races.
And when you're saying that, did you see him mount over the curb that was right there in the middle and some debris coming out from the underneath? Have to be a little bit cautious to make sure that you don't do that repeatedly, cause damage to the car. We had that in the single-seaters. You know, we can't drive over them because the ride height's so low. So a lot of guys were starting to do damage and coming in and actually not being able to finish the race. But that's the advantage of the cars that you guys have. You can go over those curbing and you can take advantage of it. And a lot of times passes are completed at that point in time.
Hearn's going to make the move, and wow, I thought for a minute he was going to lose the lead there for Zillich, but he was just holding on to the lead. But here comes Merrill. Merrill on the inside at 13. It's absolutely wheel-to-wheel action as Merrill on the inside is going to get knocked to the outside now for the next corner. Zillich holding on. Merrill's got to be careful here. He's got Brent Cruz behind him, but he really doesn't need to get into this tussle with these 2 youngsters in front of him. That said, he's only in his 30s. He's hardly an old fella.
Yeah.
Coming through 18 and on board with Nathan Hearn, who's been just an absolute sensation. The Australian Trans Am champion as well as Formula 5000 champion. He comes through 19 and he looks like he was born for this kind of racing. And of course V8s is so popular in Australia, but he chose Trans Am and we're delighted to have him. We want more.
Yeah, just watching that onboard, that car looks really hooked up. Looks like he's really happy with the setup of that car. It just wasn't fighting the wheel much. It's just the car was kind of doing the work for him, which is ideally what you want. You don't want to be fighting that wheel. You just want to make one input, turn it in nice and smooth, and call it a day. So he seems like he's really happy with the setup of that car right now.
What do you notice, Scott?
Well, I was noticing actually because we've got paddle shifts in our cars and the steering wheel and the single seaters, and it takes me back to when I first started racing a long time ago. Just watching the onboard that we had, you're doing some shifting in the middle of the turn.
Yeah.
So you guys still obviously have the standard shifter in the middle, so the hand comes off the wheel onto the shifter, and then something that we've gone away from in the single seater stuff. So really abusive for the driver inside the car. I call it the old-fashioned workhorse because you guys are doing that. No traction control in these cars, and you guys are really heavy onto the braking and what have you. When you guys are on the brakes, how much PSI do you guys have?
So we use 1,200 PSI of frontline brake pressure. So it obviously depends a lot on master cylinder sizes to get the actual force, but it's something around like 150 pounds that your foot is pushing, 150 to 200 even sometimes, of pressure that your foot is just putting on the pad of the pedal. So you're really just going in there and slamming on the things. The brakes in these cars aren't great, so you kind of just go to the end of the straightaway and hit the thing as hard as you can, and know it's probably pretty good.
And they're, at the end of the straightaway, the fastest one here is 160 plus miles an hour. And the reason I was asking about brake pressure is that here we go.
Zillich jinks out, and has he got the braking power? No, Hearn says. The Q3 car side by side. Great racing, folks. We're seeing this every weekend.
Now Zillich is going to be in the inside.
Yeah.
This is a really hard sector because the inside and the outside, it switches really aggressively, like it always is switching. So he has the inside here, and now it's the outside. So he looks like he made that move go. Yeah.
And Merrill could get past both of them if he's not careful. Oh, he bangs into the back of Nathan Hearn. And Brent Cruz has got the best seat to watch all this and probably loving it, because as these two fight, or three fight, the Brent Cruz is just clearly cruising to the championship. What a race at the front of this. Annunziata about to join it, and behind Annunziata, Cameron Lawrence, and you can never count him out.
Yeah, I mean, this is great racing. You can see those top 6 cars are all within a few seconds of each other, so that's really impressive.
Go back to what you were saying, guys. Sorry, we had to pick up for the action there.
Yeah, and just very quickly, when we're talking about brake pressure and 160 miles an hour, and that's why it's important to note that for Brent Cruz, go-karters come out of cars and they brake with their left foot.
Yeah.
His injury is on his right foot. If it was the opposite way around, he would be certainly having some issues, I would think, part of the way through. So good for him that it's on the right-hand side. And the racing he's got going on right now, we talked about the adrenaline, he talked about it. Yeah. The adrenaline's taken over with that now. I mean, that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I tell you what, as we go on board with Lostowski, currently in 12th position. He's just moved up past Josh Sargé, who's been racing IMSA in 13th position. But Lostowski, one of our former production racers, now turned Trans Am, has really made the transition beautifully, and he's definitely one to watch. He's got the 48 sticker there for Scott Borchetta, out of respect. So thank you, Scott. I hope you're back next year. I'm also keeping an eye on Rafa Matos. Matos currently in 14th position. He's done a great job of siding his way through. Here comes Merrill on Hearn. He's got the inside line at 11, and nice ride driving by both of them. They're going to be side by side, but Merrill's going to have the advantage. He pushes the Australian wide, tries to get the drive, but they both slip-slided out of there, and they've lost time to the leader.
This could really help Cruz because he got a really good drive. He wasn't playing the games with getting a bad exit, so he was just focused on getting a really good exit. Now he's going to be able to make a move on Hearn.
And Hearn doesn't want another pass, and it's Brent Cruz trying to make that pass, and he's got the better line. Annunziata waiting, likewise Lawrence. Here comes Cruz. No, says Hearn. Back at you. Australia versus America. North Carolina, Mooresville, where they literally make NASCAR drivers, it seems. And that's where Zillich and, of course, young Brent Cruz are from. Here comes Annunziata, though, the Californian, up for it. Got a third here last year, and he gets through on Brent Cruz. Nobody holding back. Just what Evan Slater said, which is they don't care about the championship. They're racing for their careers. And Brent Cruz has got to be careful there in fourth place, excuse me. Great race this between the top 7.
As you can see, all this racing is just allowed Connor Zillich to really just pull away. He's just getting clean laps while everybody else is fighting with each other, slowing each other down. You can see he's just pulling right away. So that's perfect for him, and he's really happy about that.
Yeah, no question about it. This is exactly what Zillich needed. Merrill won't care in that respect, just where he is on track, as long as he's staying ahead. And obviously, Brent Cruz is in a comfortable position at the moment, but he doesn't want to lose too many places. He doesn't need Annunziata and Cameron Lawrence and Caleb Bacon, Tyler Gonzalez to come through, because if they do, then suddenly he's on the bubble a little bit. He's got to finish in the top 10, and that would knock him down to 8th.
Yeah, I mean, Cruz is in 4th right now, which is really good for the championship, but he's a race car driver. He wants to do better than that. He wants to get in on the podium. He wants to get up front.
So, we're on board with Austin Green. And guys, Austin Green, great season for him.
Yeah, Austin Green's a great driver. He's been doing really well all season. New to road course racing. This is his first year road course racing. In the beginning of the year, he learned how to shift a car on the track, essentially, because he's never done it because he just did oval track stuff. So really, really impressive for this year. He's doing a great job getting adapted to it. And I think his next year is looking strong. I don't know if it's announced yet, but his next year is looking really good. So super happy for him, and he's done a really great job.
When we were talking a little bit earlier before the show started that you're even looking at trying to get into some oval type of racing yourself, because drivers are here for training, but it's really just an opportunity to be able to learn things, because you guys are always pushing to go somewhere else and probably chasing NASCAR.
Yeah, I mean, you're always trying to do better. You're always trying to learn more. So oval track racing, here you can see the cars are kind of spread out a little bit. Oval track racing, you're always right next to each other. So I'm really trying to get into that a little bit more just so I can gain some more experience with that, because obviously I want to keep my horizons as open as I can. So more oval track experience is good, because then that leads to more opportunities in the future.
You know, it's interesting because this track, I think everybody knows it as a Formula One track, and obviously as a single-seater track, and I love it when we come here with our series, but talk to a few guys actually in the paddock, in your Trans Am paddock. Some guys like this racetrack and some don't. So, I mean, what's the highs and lows of this racetrack compared to what you guys generally do in your Trans Am cars?
Yeah, so this track is kind of like, you either love it or you hate it. So I'm personally, I would say that's a little bit aggressive, I guess. But I don't hate it. It's not my favorite. I would say it's more on the dislike side, but it's kind of wide, it's kind of open, so there's less like risks. You can kind of just like, you can go off, you can make mistakes with low risks. There's just so much runoff, so much asphalt. But some people love this track because if you ignore that fact that there's just like room everywhere, the track itself is really technical. It's really great. You have fast and flowing turns. You got like super tight and technical ones like we just saw there in turn 1. So this track has a lot of variety, but it is wide open, which some people, including myself, don't really like.
You know, when you talk about being technical, I mean, the S's that we're going through right now, and I'm Canadian, so
that looks like it's turn 11.
Yeah, and that's
the number 40 car.
Yeah, that's the number 40, and that is Richard Rook.
Yep.
Turned around, he's kept it going, thankfully.
Got it rolling, yep.
Finish your thought, boys.
Well, we're talking about all this pavement that you get to use once in a while, so if you have issues, they're not pulling you out of the gravel trap, which is neat. But, you know, for me as a Canadian downhill skiing, you know, if you don't get the first set of poles right, you're sort of off all the way down the hill.
Yeah.
And here with the S's, I think if you're off at the very beginning of it, you'll still make the turns, but you've cost yourself time in those first couple of turns. You've lost a few hundred RPM and also maybe a little bit of a couple of tenths here and there. So, yeah, it's a very technical track. And, you know, when I come here and I watch the Formula One cars go around, it's just, I look at it sometime, the speed they carry, I mean, it's almost like a video game. But this is a cool track.
I was looking at the Formula One times. Don't quote me on any of this, but I think they were running like 138s and we're running 212s. So, I mean, that's just like crazy how much faster those cars are. But, I mean, the S's is where they gain so much time. They're just flat out at like 150 probably. We're going to have to slow it down to like 75. So those cars are just glued to the ground with the downforce, where these big, heavy stock cars, they're not that much slower at the end of the straightaway. They're just losing time everywhere else.
Well, guys, 6 laps gone of the 30. Still a long way to go. But Connor Zillich is eking out a nice little lead, 1.7 seconds over Merrill. Merrill, though, is doing everything he can to stay where he is. Nathan Hearn putting pressure on. Brent Cruz, likewise, in 4th, is where he needs to be. Annunciata, Lawrence, and Gonzalez. Those are the worry for Brent Cruz because they are coming fast at him. Austin Green not far behind. And then in 9th, it's Caleb Bacon. Misha Goikberg in 10th. Dylan McAvern 11th, Lostowski 12th, and I wanted to get down to this battle for 13th, which is Josh Sargé and Rafa Matos. Matos all the way up to 14th. Adam Andretti's going with him, he's 15th, so that makes for some interesting racing to come. There is Matos in the background, so looking forward to the number 88 coming through. Such disappointment. Here comes Andretti on Sargé, he's got through as well. So, excellent stuff by him. We'll keep an eye on both Adam Andretti and Matos as they carve their way through.
Yeah, I mean, Rafa Matos, he's got a fast race car right now. He's the 6th fastest car on the track right now while passing through traffic. So he's got a car that he's really comfortable with, and he's looking to make some more positions.
On board with the ASIO data, the local man, Barry Bowes, passed the factory the other day, just outside Dripping Springs, and yeah, great. What a season for Barry Bowes, getting a podium already in the season, but really moving forward and staying in the top 10 at most weekends. These onboards really give you a sense of those curbs you were talking about.
I'm just amazed how they just drive over them. Obviously, you've got the ground clearance to do it in these cars. But, you know, interesting to see there's multiple lines because the track is so wide here, and guys make it work. Yes, there's probably one optimum line if you want to make the car go as quick as you can when you're always trying to do your segments. But, I mean, there is room for a little bit of difference in lines and error here. But then again, it's interesting to see how guys make their cars work. It all comes down to how your car is handling, how it turns in, how the steering works for you, and how you're comfortable driving it. But multiple different lines, and like I said, the track is super wide until it's not.
Yeah, I mean, this track, it's so wide, and so if your car setup is like questionable or it's not ideal how you want it, you can really change up your line so much to make it work for you. The turns where I feel that most when I'm driving here is turns 13 and 14. The way you can like track out and the way you get the power down when you get to the power, that can really depend. Like if you're really struggling with the rear end of the race car, you can wait a little bit, get on throttle a little later in 13 so you're more rotated so you can get closer to the apex in 14. That's if you're struggling with the rear. And then if you have a really great race car, you can get on the throttle really early and just track it out and run around the outside. So that's just like one example for me where you can really adapt your line and adapt everything that you're doing to the way your car's driving.
And when you ran here, obviously you're one of the top Trans Am drivers when you qualified fourth like you did here last year. So interesting for me, I mean, with the horsepower you guys have with these cars, are you feathering the throttle when you come out of the turns, or would you spin the tires if you tromped in the gas in these things?
So it depends. It depends on where you are in the race. At the end of the race, yeah, if you floor, you're gonna be burning the tires in second gear, first gear, second gear. You can be burning the tires whenever. But in qualifying, when you have new tires and you're going for a fast lap, you just mat that thing and you'll get very minimal wheel spin because these tires are so good.
Yeah, isn't new tires wonderful? You put new tires on, it's like glued to the road, and you get that feel for it, and you just wish it would stay like that through the whole
different race car, yeah.
Unfortunately, it doesn't stay like that for very long.
Well, guys, we got our first real look at Brent Cruz, who, of course, was on crutches at the beginning of the weekend after that training incident. In comes the number 11 by the looks of it, and it looks as though that's a terminal problem because you don't want to be pouring over the car like that at this stage in the race. Remember, this is a sprint race. This is car 17, actually. I saw the 11 up there, but it's actually the 17. And what a shame for him because he was going well. And that's Dylan McAvern, who's had great success in Trans Am in the past. But, of course, we're keeping an eye. It looks as though that's terminal for him. Connor Zillich, though, Thomas Merill and Nathan Hearn are your top three at the moment. For Brent Cruz, though, we keep an eye on him. We go back to Rafa Matos, and he now on Lostowski, so he's carving his way through. And this is perfect. Evan, I'm going to go to you on this one.
Yeah, he just made that look easy. I mean, he's so happy with the car setup. He just like blew right by him. He got a good exit out of the last corner and just made it look easy. So Rafa's really happy right now, really comfortable. And I look forward to seeing how much time he can make up.
Add a safety car to this, and Rafa's back in it.
Well, you know, when he's sliding the car around, it shows you how much you have to push these cars over the limit to drive. But, you know, there is a lot of room we talked about there. I mean, and what I'm watching right now will obviously tell you that if it was our guys out there, it'd be track limits. And if they're making an advantage on that, that's what we look at and see if you're making an advantage. And then you can maybe see yourself in the stewards room. Different rules here, but really impressive just to see how Matos was sliding that car around. Obviously, I know him for a long time from the single-seater stuff. Very accomplished driver and very smooth. So he knows the limit of the car. Be interesting to see here how the car lasts towards the end, the tires on it, and that's always something that I always push the drivers. I mean, you've driven those things, so you know, and you know, through the S's, everybody tells me that you can take the tires off this car if you push it hard.
You can take them off really easy, really quick, because you're going so fast and you're trying to turn as hard as you can, so you can really smoke the tires there. That'll mainly do like wear on the outside tires, I guess, where you're turning, but mainly the front tires. So those are the ones that are trying to make the car to rotate. And the tight turns like turn 1, turn 11, turn 20, you're going to really burn up the rear of the tires. So with these cars, what I've found, I've never really actually burnt up the front of the tires. Normally the fronts are really good at the end of the race. The main problem is the rear tires because they have so much power all of the rear wheels that it'll just, if you spin them once, you can kind of almost lose it there because you get the surface temps up and then that generates the core temp. So yeah, you're mainly focused on controlling the rear end of the car, but the S's can still burn up the tires pretty easily.
Down the back straight again, Merrill has reeled in Zillich. You can see it for yourself. There's a distinct battle for third as well, and that, of course, is between Hearn and Cruz. But here comes Merrill. Merrill has a chance to get here. Here he comes, into 12. And just as you join us back live on MAV-T, we've had an overtake for the lead as Merrill, our champion, goes into the lead ahead of Connor Zillich. And it was a nice overtake on the exit of 12. Zillich, though, will try and come back at him. These two pulling away at the front. But now the battle is on because this is where Merrill needs to be.
Yeah, Merrill's just trying to get them as most points as he can. He's in second in the championship right now, so he's just trying to get points. So he's done the best he can so far this weekend. He got the the extra points for qualifying and on pole, and he's going to get the extra point for leading a lap now. So he's just trying to get as many points as he can to have as much of a fight with Cruz as he can.
You know, watching his car, you can tell his car is now starting to come in. The tire temps are up. It's starting to work. Some fuel's being burned off. And when I met him, I think I said in one of our other shows, it reminds me a little bit of
Zillich going slow on the outside. It looks like Zillich has a problem.
Well, or a mistake. He missed his brakes or something.
Yeah, maybe.
No, it certainly looked like something mechanical happened with him out there, because it didn't look like he missed his braking zone. We'll find out very shortly here if he picks the speed back up, but no, it looked like it was mechanical that forced him out there.
Yeah. Oh, what a shame. And what a way to finish for Silverhair Racing, because he's been really the star of the show outside of Brent Cruz leading the championship. It's all been about Zillich in the last few races, from Watkins Glen, Technology, and of course VIR, where he was a double winner. Nobody's ever done that in the history of Trans Am. He won both TA and TA2, did Connor Zillich. So look out for the number 7. If you're looking at the 70 as the future, Connor Zillich is right there with him. And they've been their way. They were both world kart champions back in the day. Slightly different years apart. I think Connor's slightly older. He is slightly older at 17 compared to Brent Cruz at just 50. Now there's your leader. Now look at what he's done in the amount of time. Obviously with Zillich gone, it's helped a lot. But now he's got a decent gap where, as a racing driver, Scott, you know, you'd basically say that he's comfortable now and he can build on that. He's in the zone.
I think his car has got better as the run has gone on. There's no doubt about it, which is very important. And anybody that's got a good car after a restart, something of that nature, I mean, it's great if it's only 5 laps to go. But anytime you have a long run like these guys are having, then the car gets better. That makes you feel very confident as a driver. So I've watched it, and as I just mentioned, his car looks very comfortable, Johnny. It just looks like under braking, it's not moving, and he gets back on the gas. It's very nice to be able to see him just hit the points. What you're looking for, hit your braking point, your turning point, apex, and make sure you get the smooth exit, and stay off the curbs, because you just never know if you might break something. And now he's on, hate to say it, he's cruising.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're in the Mission Foods Stadium section, coming up to the McConaughey complex, as I call it. Brent Cruz leading this group of, 5 cars, and at the back of that group is Gonzalez, our new driver. First time out. It's a puncture, I think.
Yeah, it looks like a puncture.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see that smoke. Probably the tires popped and dragging. Yeah, it's definitely the rear.
And there's all sorts of parts on the track. Oh, off goes the wheel.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to see a safety car.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Well, I've got a race director next to me, and I don't doubt him. So here we go. Yeah, I'm afraid Zillich will try and creep back, but no, that's going nowhere, and he's taken the brake calipers and the suspension and everything else. It's game over, guys.
That seems like the lugs came out. That's weird. That's a weird thing. I don't know, because that was the whole wheel fell off, so I don't know what would cause that. Maybe like an axle snapping, or I don't know, something not
No
good.
surprise, full course yellow, folks. Now, let's regroup, because I said a moment ago, just about a few minutes ago, wouldn't it be nice for Rafa Matos, now 9, if he got a safety car?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's exactly what's happening. So, this race is turned on its head. Merrill, who'd built, a 2-second lead almost over Nathan Hearn, that disappears. Brent Cruz still third, Annunziata right there with him, but the restart for this one's going to be interesting. Another car off, that's the 25, have also gone off there, or at least is parked up. I don't think he's had a crash. That's Chris Durbin.
Yeah, so this restart will be interesting. So Rafa Matos, he's going to be really happy about this, because this bunches him right up. And then another person that's going to be really happy about this is Ethan Barker. We haven't talked about him, but this is he's new to this series, and he started dead last, because I think he also missed the drivers' meeting. So he did one of my moves, but so he started last, and he actually made his way all the way up to 23rd. So that's really good for him so far. So he's going to be happy with that.
All right, we are under caution here, and don't forget, we're going to go through the West Championship as well, because they are racing for their championship as well. But we are under caution for the first time here, and so far, Rafa Matos has caught right up with the leaders, and that makes it very interesting indeed. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Hungry for SVRA action? Well, the best way to enjoy classic auto racing is with a delicious classic from Mission Foods. Green flag your race-watching snacks with Mission's mouth-watering race day recipes. Try some of our tasty tacos, piled high nachos, fresh chips with guac, and more. So gear up your ride and fuel up those stomachs with delicious Mission Foods. Now that's too fast, too tasty.
It's the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series from the Circuit of the Americas. The final hurrah, the last round of the season, and so far it's been a cracker. The championship is on the line. And obviously, we're looking to see what Merrill can do and what Brent Cruz can do, because that's who the championship has come down to. There was many more in the run for the championship, including Rafa Matos, but that all went sideways a little bit for him. And obviously qualifying didn't go as well for him. But we've got a cracking race between 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and Goikhberg 8th. There's Matos in 9th. He's got ahead of Bacon, Sargent, Lostowski. Andretti's still 13th, so he hasn't managed. But I know Adam Andretti has got great restarts, and he'll try to get back up there. Boris said Jr. not showing this weekend, down in 16th. And likewise, we'll go through some of the West Coast Championship contenders as the likes of Ricardo Jr. and LaPaglia all coming in here this weekend. Guthrie. So we're under caution here as we go back up the hill to Big Red, or as we call it this weekend, the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers Turn 1. Let's head down to the pits where Ben Sissel is on the latest story. What is it, Ben?
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. I'm here with Gil Martin, kind of the team principal of Silver Hair Racing. Connor Zillich, class of the field again this race, but then it looks like he had a mechanical failure. Do you know what happened out there, Gil?
I mean, our Silver Hair Chevrolet was fast again, and Connor was doing a great job. He started talking about having a little bit of a brake problem. We're thinking that we broke a hub on the right rear, and until we go back and diagnose it, it's hard to tell. But I mean, I got to thank Laura and Maurice Hall for everything they've done this year. The cars have been great. Connors have done good, so we'll be back next year and try to win this championship.
Nice. I love it. Thank you, Gil. Well, if you'll stay with me, we'll come right down here to 3-Dimensional, talk to somebody from 3-Dimensional. So sorry to just interrupt, but this full course caution couldn't come into better with Rafa Matos now in 9th place from the back. So what are you telling and what are you hearing from Rafa?
Right now, Rafa's doing really good. He's just setting down a good pace for us. He knew he had to work his way all the way up from 26. He's up to 9th now. Full course yellow came at a perfect time for us. We got something for him here at the end. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Nice. I love it. Well, gentlemen, back up to you in the booth with a little bit of insight from pit lane.
Great stuff, Ben. As always, keep it coming. I just want to remind you, we've also got the West Coast Championship in hot pursuit. Brody Goble leading in the points at the moment. Michael LaPaglia and Greg Tolson in that one. At the moment, Brody is in, 17th place, but he's not the leading West Championship runner at the moment, so lots to play for there. But let's get back to the action as Thomas Merill now leads this race, but we're under caution. And what do you do in this situation? What do you say to your engineer, or what information do you want, Evan?
I don't know. For me, I don't really like that much information. I kind of just like to know what I can see, kind of. That's kind of like what I like to do. But it's really good because it lets your tires cool down. So your tires, obviously they're the most important thing in the car because they're touching the ground, but they can get overheated, they can get overpressured just from driving them so hard. So that can make your car drive really bad and have you lose pace. So these full course yellows are really great because you're not driving the car at the limit. So it gives the tires a chance to cool down. So you can get the surface temperatures and the core temperatures down. You can cool down the brakes. Anything that was overheating, you can cool down, which is just really key. So you can really attack at the restart, and then you'll have more for the end of the race.
Guys, question for both of you. Do you get a sense when you're under caution like this how much tires you've got left, or because the temperature changes, you can't really work it out?
Well, I was mentioning before, I think what we're seeing right now is Thomas Merill with the tire pressures. The team got everything right for that, for the car, for the long run. Now that we've got this caution, as you're mentioning, Evan, and tires are going to cool down, is he going to have the pace at the very beginning, or does he have people coming up to pass him? The key thing, if your car's not as good on this restart as it was when you were driving after all the temps and everything came up and the car was perfect for you, don't overdrive the car. Don't overdrive it, which then makes the tires come away from you, all that sort of stuff. Patience, And I said earlier on one of the other shows I did with you guys a little bit earlier this year, for me, it's just like Thomas Merill, when I sit and chat with him, he reminds me a little bit of Scott Dixon. His mind's always going, and he's really kind of contemplate what's going on. So I suspect that if he doesn't have the car underneath him that he needs, he will probably turn around and just play it cautiously for a few laps until the car comes back to him.
Yeah, it seems like Michel Abate was in the pit guess unrelated, but it seems like Michelle Abate was in the pits right there. It looked like she had some contact. It looked like they were trying to tape up the fender, so I don't know what happened there. It could have been related to the start. I guess we don't know, but they're just trying to get that car fixed up so it's back ready to race.
And taking advantage of the yellow, so she's not losing.
So you're not losing as much time at all.
Guys, let's get the latest from Nitro Motorsports. The championship on the line now, and they're so close to winning it. Ben, what's happening?
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. I'm here with Jimmy live on the scene. What is Brent saying? How's his foot feeling? How are things playing out for you in Nitro?
So far, everything's going as planned. His foot's not bothering him. He's being kind of patient. You know, we have a really fast car, Nitro Motorsports car. The foot is not an issue at all. Brent's a tough guy and he's champion. But, you know, it's a long race. Hopefully it'll stay that way. But right now, he's not complaining. He's just being patient.
Nice. Now, you seem a little bit more on edge than usual, Jimmy, live on the scene.
This is going to be my last championship as a crew member. I'm going to stop. My plan at the beginning of the year was to win a championship with Brent and retire. And I thought we had it 3 races ago, so it's really, I'm not counting my eggs before they hatch. But, yeah, I'm a little on edge.
I love it. And he's right. Just what we learned last year in the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series is you got to wait for the checkered flag. Jonathan, gentlemen, back to you.
Yeah, that's a good point. And look at that debris. I hope they clear that up as they weave from side to side. But you can hear the emotion in his voice. You know, most of these guys are lifers when it comes to racing, and it doesn't matter what form of racing. They live and breathe it every weekend.
And he said what is said is so true, because 3 races ago, I thought we had this sewn up.
Yeah.
2 races ago, I thought we had this sewn up. VIR, I thought we had this sewn up. And, you know, we just saw debris on the racetrack right now. Debris can land on the racetrack and turn around and take out something on Brent Cruz's car.
Yeah.
So it is never over. I know I keep saying that, but I mean, right now, everybody's just thinking about getting back to the restart and going and where your car is at this point in time. I mean, so fuel's burned off, tires are, you know, probably got some good life on these cars, I suspect, at this point in time.
Yeah, so I mean, this is just really exciting. I mean, yeah, like you were touching on earlier, racing is just, there's so many variables, you never know what happens. So like, yeah, it seems like Brent Cruz is in a really good position right now, but as you were saying, maybe somebody hits a sign and it throws up and Cruz hits it and it pops a tire or something. You don't know. There's so many things that can happen. So it's just super exciting, super like exhilarating to watch this and see like what's going to happen. You really don't know. We're on lap 12 right now. You really don't know till lap 30.
Long way to go. And as you can see, if you look down above from the drone, you'll see the lights are off on the Honda Civic, which means we are going racing, and this restart is imperative for so many different drivers. Merrill's got to get away cleanly. He just needs about a 2-second gap just so he can relax, concentrate on his marks, and not worry about the fight between him, because he just has to finish this race. I spoke to him in the weekend, and he said, that's all I can do. And then the race is on between the likes of Hearn, Cruz. It's not bothering him, his foot at the moment. Annunziata looking for another result. Here they come. Line astern. Merrill will be choosing when to accelerate. They can't overtake until they get past a certain line, and this is coming up. Away he goes. Hearn follows him. Cruz looking. Annunziata looking. Here comes the 89 of green, and that's over to the 88. Hearn, lovely move. Well, that was classic. On board with Austin Green as he's in the thick of it. Just behind him now is his teammate. So those two might work together, because I think he got Goitberg. Cameron Lawrence hung out to dry for a moment at 2.
Merrill gets back into the lead.
Nicely done. Merrill back in before they get through the S's. That's not easy to do. Annunziata up to what? 4th position. Lawrence now 5th. Gonzalez 6th. Green 7th. Goitberg 8th. Rafa Matos 9th. Whoa! Shenanigans there. Somebody goes wide. At 7. Into 8 and climbing the hill. 14 of the 30 gone. Another car going wide at the top of 9. Down towards 11. Boy, they're jostling for position.
Yeah, you can see Tyler Gonzalez has a little bit of damage on that right side of the car.
There's Austin Green on Cameron Lawrence. Big muscle car move.
Ooh.
Didn't waste any time there, did Austin Green. Nicely done. But here comes Cameron Lawrence back at it.
Yeah, I mean, you can see he got a really bad exit there. Oh, man, there's still debris on the track. But he had a bad exit because he put wheels in the grass, which just hurts the power down. So he definitely did not get a great restart.
Under braking at 12. This is it. Tries to get Goitberg, but does get 1 at least. Or does he? No, the 60 comes back at him. That's Gonzalez. First ever Trans Am race up against a 2-time champion. Wow. Gonzalez certainly learned his way in the 86s in Toyota this year, as well as TCR. Cameron Lawrence 3 wide with the 2 three-dimensional services. 2 doesn't go into 3, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does. It's a pardon me, excuse me, I'm coming through. I love
exactly,
that.
I love it. Well, Matos has to hold on because he doesn't go through as they come through 18. Oh, another big
Barry
hit.
Bowes.
Barry Bowes, the local man. But he's
that
kept
car
it going.
might be stuck.
Yeah, and that's a shame. 2 cars involved in that incident. One of them, the 180 car.
Will be. They will not get out of that gravel trap. I suspect we'll see another full course caution.
What I was really surprised by there when we saw that restart is there was still a lot of debris on the back straight. I don't know. The safety workers seem to have just left that there. Maybe they didn't notice it. Maybe they didn't think it was an issue. But I don't know. It seemed like maybe part of a sign. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that being on the racetrack as we're going racing.
Yeah,
but
I wondered if it might be part of a hood because it looked very large, at that point in time. But yeah,
absolutely. LaPaglia was the one in the 180. Sorry, just to update you.
Yeah, but something that big, you don't want to hit that. Even a hood, it's pretty lightweight. It's just a piece of fiberglass, but still, you don't want to hit that at 160.
Rafa Matos has got ahead of his teammate. There he is in the 88. We have got a full course caution, and now it plays again into Rafa's hands as the 95 spins it all around and tries to get going again. So all sorts of drama, and we're back to caution, boys. Here we go again.
Yeah, there's a saying, caution, spring caution. So everybody's trying to be super aggressive on the restart, and a lot of the times, it causes more crashes and more cautions. So that's part of racing. That happens.
So we've had drama here in our final round, and this is the last hurrah for TA2 and this championship. Scott, you've been around motor racing in this country and in Canada for a long time now, and you've seen Trans Am sort of ebb and flow. It's been a constant series since 1966. But it's really going exponentially bigger.
I think this is the most competitive Trans Am series I've seen, and I started watching this when I was younger, getting into Formula Fords. Back in the days of Tom Gloy Racing and Roush Racing and Willie T. Ribbs and all those guys, and a guy that we know up in Canada very well, Ron Fellows. I mean, back in that era, all those guys are coming through, and the series now is so competitive, so difficult to win, and impressive because of all the Trans Am influx we have of drivers.
Yeah, and as you can see, Barry Bowes trying to instruct them how to get him out of that gravel, but I don't think it's going to happen. But either way, we're under caution. It's Merrill, Hearn, and Cruz, your top 3.
Yeah, I think Barry was just...
Go ahead, Ed.
Sorry. I think Barry was just trying to get the safety workers to push him into the grass, because once you're in the grass, so the gravel, you'll spin the tires and you'll get beached, but in the grass, you can actually drive these cars. So I think he was just telling them, just push me into the grass and I'll drive right away.
Right, yeah,
but,
good point, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if the safety workers understand that.
There he is. We just passed him there, and we're on board with Rafa Matos, who's currently 8th, so a great opportunity for him. Again, want to remind you, Brody Goble, 604 he started the day with. Michael LaPaglia on 582. This is the West Championship. Greg Tolson, 566. Tim Lynn and Ricky Lee. That's how they stand in the West Coast Championship. So important to them. They've got a very aggressive and competitive championship, and they come here to take on the national boys. But more importantly for them, their own championship is so important. Very robust championship, the West Coast Championship. And we hope more, like Michelle Abate, will transition from West Coast into the National Championship. Out goes the 77, sadly.
Yeah, Josh Arce for Liqui Moly and Cube 3 Racing. I don't know why he's out. It must be some mechanical issue that we can't see, so maybe some motor issue. We don't really know, but that's really unfortunate for him in the end of the year.
Yeah, it's been a long year. Been a lot of racing for him.
On this restart, I'm really excited to watch Nathan Hearn. So we saw in that last one, he was super aggressive. So he's going to probably have that same idea and same aggression for this restart. So Merrill now knows that, so Merrill's going to anticipate that he's going to be super aggressive, so maybe Merrill will defend a little bit more. But it's interesting to see because now they both know their cards a little bit more on what they're going to do. So I'm excited to see how that all plays out.
So we are waiting for the restart. Again, another critical restart. We just saw Andretti just go through shot. He's up to 12th now behind Lostowski. And then Caleb Bacon is 10th. Austin Green now 9th. Rafa Matos up to 8th. That battle between Cameron Lawrence, Tyler Gonzalez, and Misha Goitberg. Goitberg actually up to 5th place. Very impressive indeed. He now joins that front group, chasing Annunziata and Cruz. But we're about to get underway again. Let's hope it doesn't take too long to clean up the cars that have gone off, including Barry Bowes. And we welcome back our MAV TV viewers. We're still under caution. You've missed nothing, and you're about to get some real exciting action coming your way because the championship is on the line, and the man who could only beat the championship leader, and that, of course, is Brent Cruz, is Thomas Merill, and he leads this race, so it's all on still for the championship. Let's head down to Ben Sissel in the pit lane.
Well, thanks, Jonathan. I'm here with Blaze Chitta with BC Race Cars. Misha Goikhberg starting 10th, and he picked up 5 positions. Looked like he's doing really well. We know he's really good at Circuit of the Americas. What's he saying?
He's saying the car is good. He's just biding his time and trying to move forward. You know, we're trying to chase the degradation of the tires and just trying to keep a little bit of race car for the end of the race.
A race car driver like Misha with so much experience, are you talking to him on the radio, or is he better when it's quiet?
He has a driver coach. They do the communications. I shut up and listen.
I love it. And straightforward, just like we would expect from Blaze. Gentlemen, back to you.
So then, Merrill, there you see him in the blue and white, the Cope car, with HB Tuners as his sponsor, and then Austin Green now behind his teammate Matos, but that's okay, because Matos could still beat Zillich, and Evan pointed that out. They started the day with Matos on 8:34, and just 42 points behind Zillich. And if you think about it, 100 points for a win, possibly over if you get the pole as well, as Merrill did. Some big points to be had. So Zillich being out at the moment gives Matos that opportunity. So Austin Green is going to play a support role, I'm sure, now for Rafa, who's going to try and get past Cameron Lawrence, who he's driven against many times before.
Now Rafa's going to be even more aggressive than he was before. So before he was aggressive to try and get to the field,
Yeah.
but now he has a goal. Now he's like, okay, I need to be aggressive because I want to get third in this championship. So he's now going to flip another switch and go even faster and be more aggressive, and he's really going to try and push to get that car up front.
And you know, I would say that Rafa's also racing for next year, because nothing is decided as to who's going to go where. Rafa hasn't won the title this year, and that's not the benchmark, but it's benchmark for everybody. So really, you've got to finish on a high. And if Rafa Matos, who's been up and down throughout the season, he had a big crash at Detroit, destroyed one of the cars there, and you know, he needs a good result just like everybody else out there.
Champions actually make it very easy in contracts, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Well, we're going to go round again, and that means we're going to get more insight. You're listening to Evan Slater, and by the way, if you've got a little cash under the bed, Evan Slater, put it on him. He's a good boy. He was what? Where did you finish here last year?
So last year I didn't have a great finish here because I qualified 4th, and we had pace to be on the podium, but then I missed the driver's meeting, as you touched on earlier.
Just had to bring that up. I'm sorry.
So I started 54th, and I made my way up to 14th or 13th, I think.
Yeah, very impressive. The finish, not the
not missing the driver's meeting, but I've learned from that, and now I'm not missing them anymore.
There's Goble, Brody Goble, who I was mentioning before, in the West Coast Championship, leading the way on 6:04, so we'll keep an eye on him. Let's head down to our latest West Coast information, because Ben Sissel is on that story too. Ben, what have you got?
Well, you were just talking about Brody Goble and showing him in the shot, doing really well in the championship, but also another one of my favorite teams, and usually the most well-dressed team on the West Coast, is LaPaglia Racing. I'm with Richard Papini, the owner of Papini's Garage. Michael's doing really well in 24th, doing really well in the West Coast Championship, but what's he saying on the radio to you?
Basically, the radio is silent. Basically, he just focused on taking the corners and passing people since we started last. So basically, he's just killing it out there, and the only time that we basically talk is when he's passing people. So other than that, radio's a silent so he can focus and go for the win.
Nice. So, you know, he's not new to the series. He raced an SGT last year. This is his first year in TA2. Have you enjoyed the TA2 effort? And he's also going to be out there later on today in SGT. But have you enjoyed the transition?
Yes, we have. At the beginning of the year, we had a little bit of struggles with the car, but once we got the issues ironed out with the alignment and brakes and figuring all that stuff out, we were able to get out there and do really well. So, yeah, it's our favorite thing to do right now. So, yeah, we love it. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun with this car.
I love it. I love it. Well, Jonathan, Scott, you guys, Evan, have a great time in the booth, but make sure you check in on our West Coast racers every once in a while. Back to you, gentlemen.
Certainly will. 22 points between Goble and LaPaglia at the start of the weekend. Goble currently 19th and LaPaglia in 24th. And that's good work to come up to 24th with a starting pack of 46 cars.
It's a wide racetrack like we talked about, lots of places to pass, but also a lot of places to get yourself in trouble. So interesting to see how the East and the West meet because, you know, as you understand, when you're driving the series all the time, you get to know and understand people and their habits around race cars. Now there's a bunch of new people showing up and, you know, you have to learn their characteristics to make sure they do something that might put yourself at risk. And I always tell our drivers, don't let somebody else's mistake become your problem.
Yeah, you definitely got to know the drivers you're racing against. Everybody drives in a certain way. I mean, as you drive and you race with these people, you learn the way they drive, and that allows you to race closer with them. But these new guys, if you don't know how they drive, that can create some problems. So I'm seeing them I'm watching the shots here, and I'm seeing a lot of these cars with just like small amounts of damage.
Yep.
So these cars, some of these cars are a little tired. They've just had a little bit of rubbing, but rubbing's racing. So it's good to see that people are driving aggressively, but yeah.
Rubbin's racing in his world.
Yeah, in our world. Yeah, in these big stock cars.
In our world, it leads to an incident. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, in the open wheel lightweight cars, those Rubbin is not racing because that can cause crashes. But in these big cars, you'll door people, you'll rub fenders all the time, and it's not a big deal.
Tommy Kendall springs to mind, Ernie Francis Jr., of young guys that have won Trans Am championships. But if Brent Cruz pulls this off, he'll be the youngest ever at 15 years and 7 months. Pretty incredible.
Wow, that's incredible. And you talk about Ernie Francis Jr. Oh, there we go. I've never seen that before. That's sort of cool. Well,
Barry Bowe's giving us a real insight there.
Yeah.
He's getting chaperoned.
Yeah, we can watch his speed and watch his G-meter, everything that's going on with that. You talk about Ernie Francis Jr. Remember, came over into FR and got himself into single-seater racing and won a race driving in in those cars. So, I mean, to be that adaptable and that verse, he did a great job.
Yeah, Ernie Francis Jr., in fact, was the second youngest at 16. 9 months, so not bad. So
I was still go-karting at that age.
I know.
Back then. Yeah.
When did you start?
I started racing go-karts. I kind of started later than most of these guys. So go-karts outdoors is really where you learn and where you start. So I started those when I was 10. I think Brent Cruz, I could be wrong here, but I think he started around like 2.5, and Connor Zillich around 4. So they started really young. Those numbers might not be 100%, but that's what I've heard. That's what I think.
Well, there is a couple of years between them, and yeah, they've grown up racing both against each other and with each other at various different levels and different types of racing. Zillich has done a little bit of Miata racing. Obviously, Brent Cruz has done a little bit of ARCA. He's hoping to do some truck racing. He's done a lot of dirt racing as well, late models and so on, keep himself trim. And so he kind of throws himself at whatever he can. The onboard of Three-Dimensional Services Group, Austin Green looking ahead to his teammate, Rafa Matos. And if you've just joined us, we're under caution here. We've got 27 minutes to go. So still a lot of racing to come from this race. And we've had longer than the first one, a little thought time going on. It's perfect racing conditions, just a little bit cloudy, keeping the sun off everybody for now, but it's going to hot up later in the day. But now everybody's probably got their game face on, starting to get ready for that restart and starting to wonder where they should push and where they shouldn't. Do you physically, guys, certainly in Trans Am, I wonder, with 100 miles, we call it a sprint, but is there a time where you go, okay, I don't care what the tires are doing, I got to go?
I think it really depends on what opportunity you have with the car, how it's handling. I've just got a note from race control that we're going green this time, but it's I think it really just was where you are with your car, and a lot of it for me and what I've been driving all the time is like, if my car is going to be good in the start, I'm not going to lock up the brakes and I'll put myself at risk and maybe bump into somebody like that, then great, I'm going to go for it. But if I need a lap or 3 or something like that for the car to come to me, then they have to do that. It all goes away if you're coming up to the last lap, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, these cars are different than obviously our single-seaters.
Yeah, I mean, I would say for these cars, the time you really need the tires is the last 5 laps. That's when things happen. The positions only matter on the last lap. So in the end of the race, you have to have a good car. So you have to save your car for the end. But yeah, I mean, the way you're driving with your tires depends on how you set up the car, how you inflated the tires to do good or not. So I remember in the start, for example, but I know for me, I started NOLA. I think I started the race, I don't know exactly where I started, but I ended up in 2nd place on the first lap. But we had our tires pressured for the long run, so we were going to have a really fast car at the end of the race. So I was in 2nd place, but our car wasn't designed to be up front so early.
Yeah,
so I dropped back really quick because the tires were just like super low on pressure, so they couldn't really work that early in the race. So it depends on how you set up your tire pressures and when you can really push the car. But ideally, it's at the end of the race.
Well, we are going green next. The Honda Civic's lights are off, which means that Merrill will take control of this race in a matter of seconds. And it's going to be interesting because we hopefully will go green here for the rest of the day, or the rest of the 100 miles. Nathan Hearn still second and still with a chance of winning his first ever Trans Am race. Remember, fourth here last year. He made his debut from Australia, then hot-footed it back to Bathurst, and he's got a lot of support back home in Australia for his quest here in the USA. Cruz on his way to the championship to become the youngest ever in Trans Am history. He still in third place, and Annunziata behind him, and the big man and the big mover, Misha Goikberg, in fifth at the moment, and we're keeping an eye on Rafa Matos. Away they go then. Beautiful sound here at Kota. Brent Cruz pops out, Annunziata follows. Across comes Nathan Hearn. He does exactly the same move as last time.
Worked for him last time. Let's see if he can make it work this time.
Well, remember, Merrill came back at him.
Cale Bacon around.
Cale Bacon turns round.
Hopefully he doesn't get T-boned by a car coming around that corner.
Well, that'd be a bacon sandwich.
Which is not ideal.
Not ideal. But Hearn's holding it for now. Merrill second, Annunziata third. He got ahead of Brent Cruz, so well done to Annunziata. But, of course, Brent Cruz doesn't care about that particular position. He just wants to be solid. He just wants to stay out of trouble. And if Annunziata wants it, take it. Meanwhile, Rafa Matos all over the back of Cameron Lawrence, and the cars in front of him, including Misha Goikberg, are bouncing over 9 and 10.
Yeah, Misha Goikberg really struggling with power down there. Cuts right in front of Cameron Lawrence to defend.
Oh, it's crowded in there, isn't it?
It looks like in the back, Adrian Lostowski, his car was smoking really bad. I wonder if he hurt a fender or cut a tire down something. It seems like he was smoking a lot, so I'm interested to see what happened to him.
We'll keep an eye on that. Down the back straight with Rafa Matos. Here comes your leaders, and here comes a possible overtake by Hearn. He's in the draft. He's looking to make that move on the inside. Here he comes. Last of the late breakers. Hearn does it with a plum. Nicely done.
Yeah, he's made that move work a lot this weekend. He's really confident on the brakes right there, and yeah, good for him. Annunziata up to third. Got past Cruz.
And look, here on the outside of 13, he'll try and turn it into an inside move for 14, but he can't do it. He got a bit of a slip slide, did Merrill. And Merrill pushing now. Hearn tries to get him on the inside, and this is great racing. Side by side as they come up to the 16, 17, 18 complex. So close. On board with Rafa Matos. He's watching it all unfold. Now he's behind Goikberg. And still a long way to go.
Loving what he sees, because all those guys going wheel to wheel and mixing themselves up, it just gives him a chance to draw himself up to them. Absolutely, just great stuff.
Awesome. So we've got a humdinger going on here into turn 20. 2 by 2 between Lawrence and Goikberg, but Hearn holding on to the lead for now. Where's Brent Cruz in the number 70? Red, black and white, just behind the white and green of Annunziata. Good friends, those two, both with Nitro Motorsports. Good trust. Goikberg gets through on Lawrence. Excellent stuff. 20, 10 to go then.
Full course yellow.
Again.
I think it's Caleb Bacon stopped there on the outside of 2.
Yeah.
Wow. A lot of yellows. A lot of restarts.
A lot of yellows. Well, that means that, well, you can
got
see
some
we've
debris
got
on track also.
as well. Now, is that flag more debris or more, could it be debris or could it be moisture or
anything
fluid?
that's going to affect the grip of the car on the racetrack. So, you know, we've got a lot of bumping and rubbing, and as you said, rubbing is racing. So rubbing and racing, these things, sometimes parts fall off. So, you know, the thing about that is if there's something on the racetrack, you need to get it picked up because it can cut a tire.
Doug Peterson
Doug Peterson looks like he had some contact there. That's unfortunate, ending that race for him.
So then, with Doug Peterson in the pits and looking as though he's getting out of the car, we are under caution. Hearn, Merrill and Annunziata. So then, Brent Cruz, what a moment for this young man's career. And I'm going to ask both of you this. Where can he go? Where would you like to see him, and where do you think we'll see him? It's got to be NASCAR, right?
I don't know. I've talked to him, and he says he wants to drive everything. So, I mean,
well,
obviously,
there's the car we're looking at. It is Caleb Bacon.
Yeah, it seems like for Cruz, NASCAR is obviously a big option. Maybe open wheel stuff. I know he tested an open wheel car at some point. So
he looked at our series, and they reached out to us. You had to be 15, date certain via the FIA rules, because we run underneath Formula 1, 2, 3, 4 structure as it is. So he wanted to come into F4. You have to be 15. he was going to still be underage for the first 2 races this year, first 3 races. So they looked at it and thought, but I mean, so I was sure. Found that interesting simply from the fact that I got to know his name because of what he was doing and thought he was NASCAR bound, and we had them reach out and I thought, well, this is interesting. So yeah, I mean, you're going to go take whatever's available in front of you.
Yeah.
And you may have the love for something, but if the door doesn't open up, you're going to go park yourself somewhere else to get racing experience. You have to have exposure. You have to be in the game. And then if something else comes along, then you make that decision.
Well, the beauty for Brent is he's part of the Toyota Racing Development Junior Series, the program. He goes there pretty much 3 days a week and therefore mixes with the NASCAR drivers. But when you think about what Toyota do in racing worldwide, we've just mentioned that Gonzalez came from 86. He's raced in Toyotas in the 86 championship. He did that at Nashville as well as doing Trans Am. But then when you think about what they just competed in the last round of WEC, they're coming back here. But Toyota winning in Bahrain, who knows? He might even go that route. And that's a great professional career. So there's so much open to Brent Cruz. And like I said, it's a pleasure to have seen him at this young and raw stage, because he really is going to be something special in the future. Welcome back to our MAV TV viewers. We are live from the Circuit of the Americas. We are under caution, as you can see. That's why the cars are weaving from side to side. But it does give us a chance to go back down to the pit lane and talk to Ben Sissel. Who have you got?
Well, Jonathan, it's my pleasure to introduce, unfortunately out of the car early, but our new TA2 Masters champion. And if you remember, Doug Peterson didn't get to be here last year because you were being inducted into the Hall of Fame of Michigan. So welcome back to Circuit of the Americas. But Doug, unfortunately, bad conditions. What happened out there?
Oh, I don't know, a little bit of banging. The steering wheel is quite a bit crooked, a little vibration. So, you know, doing 160 in the back and the front's wiggling and banging. I was just kind of had enough of that.
Crazy year this year, three-dimensional services group. We had some great races with a three-dimensional services group, triple track challenge this season, TA2 Masters, but you're here with 4 cars, so now you've still got 3 bullets in the chamber. Are you going to go back and watch this race?
I'm going to go change and cool off.
That's a good answer. Just like we would expect from Doug Peterson. Doug, thank you so much for this season. Three-dimensional services group. But don't forget about Rafa, Borisset Jr., and Austin Green. Gentlemen, back to you.
Great stuff, Ben. Yeah, you can tell he's a Hall of Famer. Cool as a cucumber and a former Trans Am champion in his own right. Getting up there in experience, I'll be polite. But I tell you what, he can still handle a car at speed and right there mixing it up. And as a team owner, you can't put the wool over Doug Peterson's eyes because he's out there with you each and every weekend. So great stuff. Great to hear from Doug. Got to visit his factory, the Three-Dimensional Services factory, over the summer break. And it was great to learn a little bit about what they do. And they do some really interesting projects with their 3D mastering. And what's the latest?
We're still under caution. It's interesting because SpeedTour Group and SVRA, it's interesting because we have the Flagtronic boards all the way around this racetrack. So there's something that our owner, Tony Prella, has invested into. And so what they do is they have that information in their car also. So they see there's a full course yellow. They also have a system now that goes code 60. So the drivers slow down. They're going 60 miles an hour. And what it ends up doing is that the safety crew know that everybody is actually slowed down. They're going 60 miles an hour. They feel safe to get out onto the racetrack with their trucks and crew members to get any debris or anything like a stalled car off the racetrack. So something new that's into our series right now. We're using the Flagtronic boards in F4 and FR, but the system is even further developed by Trans Am, by the folks at Flagtronic. So
well, this made me jump because this, of course, the same color car as Merrill, but it's Prochuk. Keith Prochuk's in the pits with the HP Tuners car, and we've just heard from race control that at that last restart, Protrack with a rear end failure is what they're saying, what Ben's just reported. But we've got 4 cars are going to go back into the pit lane, and that's West Coast 69, 86, 27 and 24 for restart violations, and that could be because the rules perhaps in the West Coast are slightly different at the restarts than they are in the National Championship.
Well, you know, I'm going to take you here, and I say this because I have 7 drivers from International that come to race our series. You have to know the rules, young man that missed a driver's meeting, about what's going on. So you need to know the rules wherever you're racing, whether it's here in America or anywhere in Europe. So you have to know that information. So not only that, is that I was talking about the Flagtronics system just a moment ago. There is GPS sensors in all these cars, so we know, or the Trans Am knows exactly if a car passed under yellow or anything that's going on. So you can't get away with anything in these series these days, certainly because of all the electronics that we have.
This makes it really interesting, guys, because I've just realized that Brody Goble is one of the guys coming in. The 69, of course, is the championship leader, and Michael LaPaglia is not coming in.
Oh,
there's Keith Prochuk. Yeah, so that could really mess or stir up the 22-point difference between Goble and LaPaglia as we take a look at Keith Prochuk. Out of the car and obviously disappointed. Hell of a race for Misha Goikhberg. He has made a real name for himself in this one. He's always at the sharp end. He's always top 10. But to see him vying now for a top 5 position towards the end of the race, really impressive indeed.
Yeah, Misha Goikhberg, obviously, he drives a lot of stuff. IMSA driver, I believe he drives a Lamborghini in IMSA. So he's a really good driver, and it's great to see him in this series, and he's very experienced with these cars. So,
well, I mentioned Keith Prochuk. He's out of the car, but he's with Ben Sissel.
Yeah, thanks, gentlemen. I'm here with my friend Keith Prochuk. And Keith, unfortunately, HP Tuners doesn't make a rear end for these TA2 cars. Is that what happened out there?
Yeah, it's either the rear end or the transmission. We had a good run, running P16 pretty solid, feeling like I could go up a couple more, but then, just grenaded there at the end, and that's all she wrote for us.
And that stinks, too, because we talked before the race. You love Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, I was moving up. I was running fast, and my head was in the game, so we were, I was in the zone to run, but rear end had other thoughts.
Oh, man, that stinks. And this track is tough on transmissions, suspensions, and rear ends. Circuit of the Americas and those bright orange curbings. Scott Goodyear, I'm sure you can speak to that.
Well, you know, they love all these big curbs that they have. It certainly keeps our guys off of that, but it's interesting to see some of these guys, as we mentioned, just be able to drive over them. I'm still just amazed at that.
yeah, and when they drive over them, so if these cars go in the air, so if one tire, rather, goes in the air, so like if they hit the curb and half the car lifts up into the air and then they land while they're still on the throttle, that can put a lot of strain through the rear differential, so that can rip them up pretty easily. So if these cars launch and hit the bumps in a weird way, that can easily destroy a rear end differential. So yeah, they got to be careful with that. That's another reason why you have to be careful with the curbs.
Austin Green, of course, currently in 9th position, fighting for the Rookie of the Year championship. He's got 723 at the moment to Thad Moffitt's 661. Nathan Hearn, 3rd at the moment, but Nathan Hearn will get some big haul of points, but won't get up to Austin Green's position. So Green pretty much a shoo-in if he stays in 9th. And we're going to come to Green. There's Rafa Matos, still Austin Green. It's been a heck of a year for the 22-year-old.
Just looking at the time right now with time to go versus laps to go and getting around here in just over 2 minutes. This might end up being into a timed race, so we'll see what ends up happening here.
Which would be 12 minutes left on the clock.
So probably will be.
Yeah, I think you're right. And we have a rule here in Trans Am. If you're new to the series, we basically run 100 miles, or if we can't put that in and get the number of laps we want in, then we get as close to it as we can, given the cautions, and then we run to the clock. And then we tick it down and we run 2-0, and 1 lap after that, that's it. So here we go. We're about to go racing again. Everybody jostling for position. Massive field. Great to see at the end of the season. At this huge circuit, it deserves a big field. And as you can see, the Honda Civic makes its way out of the way. And once again, Nathan Hearn will pick it up. His first chance to get a restart from the front. And boy, will he be looking forward to this.
Yeah. Wait until the start zone, which is the signs that are on the front stretch that the drivers can see. Leader has to go in that start zone. He gets to accelerate first, and then the flag flies, and make sure you don't pass anybody or come out of line until that happens. And off they are.
And that was a great restart from Nathan Hearn.
Restart.
Really good, and to the outside now, Merrill flips through, and Hearn's going to defend and get as wide as he can. There's Thad Moffitt. I mentioned him a moment ago in that rookies competition. He's got some work to do if he's going to catch Austin Green as we go back on board with Matos, trying desperately to get past Misha Goikhberg. They do get past the number 90 of it looked like Annunziata might have a problem there, or one of the cars that they go past.
Still there.
Okay, no, Annunziata is there. So good news. But everybody flip-flopping through the S's. There's Rafa Matos in the three-dimensional services group. Started the day in, fourth in the championship on 8:34. Some 42 points behind Connor Zillich, who's out of proceedings.
I didn't notice if there was damage on the front of Masso's car on the left front fender, but I saw some tire smoke coming out of there going through the S's. So not sure if he had something touched on the fender that when he's going through the S's and the car's all leaned over, it's touching, but we'll have to keep an eye on that to see if that doesn't get worse.
Nathan Hearn went really defensive into that turn, which might hurt his exit, so maybe Merrill will be able to get a good drive out, and it looks like he is, and he's down the inside of Nathan Hearn.
Yeah, Merrill purposely went wide, and that's because he wanted the switchback, and that gives you good drive, and look, that's what it's done for him. But that said, if you run this long run straight, then you've got a chance of a slipstream, and that's exactly what Hearn's looking for now. Merrill, though, is going to brake as late as he dare and hold off Hearn. Hearn gives him a little tap, a love tap, and Annunziata waiting for it all to go horribly wrong, or make his move up the inside at 13, but instead, it's the Cube 3. 3 doesn't go into 2. Come on, Nathan, but it does here. Look at that. Nathan takes the lead again. Hearn leads, and man, and that's a terrible accident there as he turns around Hearn, and Merrill is going to get in trouble for that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, so that's really disappointing for Hearn, but Merrill, that could be a big deal for him because he messed up his fender, so that might end up taking him out of the race. Maybe he cut down a tire, who knows? That seemed like pretty big contact.
I'd go one step further and say surely the stewards are going to look at that because Merrill caused it.
They certainly look at that, but I was putting myself in Brent Cruz's spot because all that's happening in front of him, and he's going, no, don't come into my path, that sort of stuff,
Well, yeah, actually, speaking of which, the penalty, he's...
Oh, no!
Oh, more carnage. Is that Rafa Matos?
Absolute mayhem here at turn 20.
Thomas Merill spins around, Rafa Matos out of it. Misha Goikhberg going slow. Oh, man,
and Cameron Lawrence is leading this race. I said never count him out. We've got all sorts of drama. 24 of the 30 done. 8 minutes to go. Merrill trying to keep going with the car flapping off in the distance with bodywork everywhere. But there's been huge drama in this one, and it all started at turn 11 with a great move by Merrill, but then at 12, it all went horribly wrong. Austin Green trying to keep it all together. But we've got one more twist in this season. This is deja vu all over again, because this time last year, this same sort of thing happened, and we are going for a grandstand finish, folks. Stay with us. Guys, I don't want to apportion brain, but we've got to look at it a little bit. I said immediately, Merrill caused that accident at 14.
Well, the whole thing about it is right now, no penalties are going to happen, probably no drive-thrus or something like that. It's going to end up in the stewards' room at the end of the event right now.
Bet you're not glad you're not there.
Well, we had enough of our stuff yesterday to think about that. So when you have all the young drivers driving around, but, boy, we talk about this excitement all the way around.
Misha.
Yeah, I'm not a race director or a steward, but what I would say,
you just never show up to the meetings. You've never met those kind of guys.
Yeah, well, from my perspective, that looked like entirely Merrill's fault. I mean, it happens. It's racing. He's trying to go as late as he can on the brakes. He went a little too late, ran into the back of Hearn. For me, that seems like an avoidable contact. Mm-hmm. So if Nathan protests that, it'll get, I believe it'll get Merrill a 40-second penalty, which then secures Cruz with the championship.
Right, yeah.
So that's big news for Cruz because he had chaos all around him, but he was not in it.
So let's just catch up on where we are. Cameron Lawrence now leads. Annunziata is second. Austin Green is third. Brent Cruz is fourth and on his way, as you quite rightly point out, to the championship. Darren Mock now fifth. Adam Andretti, sixth place. And I smile there because, of course, he comes and joins me in the commentary booth for the other races. So I'm delighted for him because he's really made his way through. Boris said he's up into the top 10 too. So Doug Peterson will be smiling even though he's relaxing. And there you see it for yourself in real time. There is the 89 of Austin Green. A little bit of damage to the left side by rear of his car, but nothing that's flapping too badly. And as you can see, Brent Cruz right there behind him.
So Thomas Annunziata just passed Cameron Lawrence to the lead and showed everybody the pace he has. He ran a 1:11.8, which is well the fastest lap of this race. So he showed that he's got the pace and he's ready to go. So he got out front and he's making that Nitro Motorsports Nerd Focus car go fast.
Well, you join us at the perfect moment because it's all happening here at the Circuit of the Americas. Thomas Annunziata, who I spoke to pre-race, who was really confident after third place last year, has just come through the maelstrom and mayhem to take the lead away from Cameron Lawrence, who likewise took advantage when cars were going every which way and loose. Cameron Lawrence is now second. Austin Green is third. Brent Cruz, on his way to the title, is fourth. We've had all the West Coast, or half of the field, going in. And LaPaglia now leading in the West Coast, by my estimations, given that Goble has had to come in and take effectively a pit lane run through. So that is great news for Michael LaPaglia. We heard his engineer being introduced and talking about Papini's Garage and Fast Auto, the Ford Mustang going really strong for the West Coast, but 22 points the difference it was before, so we are headed for a real humdinger, and all the trophies being swapped around at the gala already, I can hear.
Yeah, so right now, Nathan Hearn, a lot of smoke.
Whoa!
Oh, Tom Sheehan spinning around.
Tommy Sheehan.
We'll see if he's able to get that car rolling. It looks like the rear wheels might be in the grass, so hopefully he's not beached on a
We call
on a
that
big
high-sided,
curve.
so definitely he looks like he's going to be up there. So we were probably coming up to the white flag, quite frankly. So if that was the case, they might just throw the white and then keep that underneath a local yellow here so you can continue with the event.
Oh, Darren Mock out of the car. He was running so good. He was fifth in the championship. Really all he needed was to have a good finish, and he was running fifth in the race too. And it seems like he had an issue. He's out of the car already, which could cause a full course yellow. I think it has to cause a full course yellow if there's a driver standing on the track.
And he should be up and find a hole in the fencing, which there's some holes around there to be able to get behind the barrier.
And you know why he's looking so disappointed? Connor Zillich went out in the young guns chase against Brent Cruz. Brent Cruz obviously still marching on for that. But Connor Zillich was second, and Mock was not that far behind, and he'll be bitterly disappointed.
Yeah, and Mock was fifth in the championship, so that's really good for him. But super unfortunate. I don't know what happened. It looked like there was some damage on that front right fender, so maybe he had some contact with a wall. Who knows?
Well, Rafa Matos is done making hay, and he's still going. Rafa must be smiling because this all happened to him last year, but he's kept his nose clean this year, and he's still running hard in ninth position. But we're getting down to the closing stages. This board changing by the minute. I'm glad we don't do it the old way in the cricket scores with a pencil.
Yellow.
You'd have run out by now. Annunziata, Lawrence and Green. And here comes Annunziata again on Lawrence. These two going at it as they come out of 11. And now Lawrence will come back.
There's a full course yellow, so if they pass right now, that can get a big penalty for whoever passes. So they have to slow it down.
But it's only just come out, but they should see it, as you say. And it comes up on the dash. Flagtronics have a really good system now where everything we see from the flags, from the actual humans putting out flags, we also have the electronic system on the outside and on the inside of the cars. It doesn't get any better than that.
Very impressive, and I was mentioning before, that's something that they've just brought on, that Tony's brought on. A lot of investment there. It's all about safety with Tony Perella, the owner of the Trans Am Series, SVRA, the F4 and the FR, so I'm very thankful for it. And we are going to end up with our new F4 cars next year that will be on the dash of the steering wheel for the drivers. Currently we have some small little monitors in there, so very excited for that. But you know, I look at this, guys, and this might just be, by the time you get a cleanup done, the checkered flag might just fall in the order that we have.
Yeah, the checkered flag might fall, which would be great for Thomas and Annunziata. It would be kind of disappointing for us because I love to see a race end under green, but obviously the safety workers can only work so fast. But man, this race has been crazy. There's been a lot of contact, a lot of aggressive driving, but it's been crazy, and right now it's looking really good for Cruz.
Yeah, we're looking at Thad Moffitt, and we've got to celebrate the 43, of course. His granddad ran that 43 to massive fame, and if you've never heard of Richard Petty, well, you shouldn't be in racing. Because obviously Richard Petty and that number are synonymous with racing in America. Thad's taken that number on. It's his first season here in Trans Am, and he's done a hell of a job. Really top tricks to him. Top 10 at the moment, Thad, just behind Rafa Matos.
Yeah, well, we're just got a note here, obviously a little linked into race control, as you know, so they're sending a note now. We'll be finishing under yellow, so, but as we know, cautions breed caution, so if we tried to get one lap in, chances are we might not have got through another lap. Yeah.
Well, let's head down to Ben Sissel if that's the case. Ben, what have you got?
Well, as is just reported, Brian Keselowski with Nitro Motorsports, if he can finish under caution, you have won the race. How does it feel, and what's the driver saying?
Honestly, it's amazing. You know, we really struggled at points this year. We thought we had a good win in Detroit and obviously got taken away from a little penalty on the track. But, you know, I thought we had a really good car. I told everybody all morning, I think we can win this race. I texted Thomas last night, said, I think we got this thing, man. We just got to play nice, especially with our teammate, because he's going for the championship. And he pulled a great move going into turn one. I mean, kid's done a great job all year. Trying to keep the thing in one piece sometimes has been a tough part of it, but you know what? He's got speed, and that's what you really ask for. I'll work hard all day long and fix these things. If you got speed, we can win races.
Now, let me ask you something. Are you talking to your brother Brad Keselowski after the race weekends, and is he kind of keeping up with this Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 series? Because it has kind of become a ladder to the series that he races in.
Absolutely. You know, and I've told him right along, right from the first time I started this year, I think this is a series that you really could get some guys into and really teach them how to go road course racing, especially with how much road course racing's in NASCAR right now. So I think it's a great series to be involved in. I really enjoy it, you know. So I come from the NASCAR side, obviously, been there my whole life. Really enjoying working here this year.
Well, Brian, congratulations, a win for Thomas Annunziata, the best eyebrows in motorsports, I gotta add. We'll see you winner's circle. Gentlemen, back to you.
Great interview, and what a great name. Yeah, Brad Keselowski, of course, a household name in NASCAR. And Brian making himself a name and a winner with his boy, Thomas Annunziata, because we are going to finish under yellow. What a great story for Nitro Motorsport. Nick Tucker was the man we spoke to at the beginning of the weekend, chief engineer, and really the man behind getting all these youngsters together. Annunziata coming in just at the end of last year, and he came in on the back of talking to Brent Cruz as a mate of his, and he said, you know, this is really good fun. You should join me, and he's only a teenager too.
You know, and you talk about the fun. I guess we were talking about Trans Am, where it's been and where it's going to, and I just look at the fun that's going on in the series right now, because when you are wheel to wheel and you are having the racing that we just saw today, that we witnessed today, as a race car driver, that's what you want to be doing. And I know you're sitting in the booth and you want to be out there, and I fully understand that. You know, but for me, going through all my career, just sitting here, and I'm a big fan for what's going on in Trans Am, and all the Trans Am folks have done a great job on building the series back up again, and better things are on the way.
Totally.
Evan, what's the latest on you getting back in the seat? What's it going to take?
I don't know. So I'm in a few talks with people for 2024. Haven't signed anything yet. Everything's up in the air until you get something signed. So, yeah, don't know quite yet, but I have a few things I'm working on. But, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
How old are you?
I'm 17.
There you go. Look at that. 17-year-old winner. And we've got a 17-year-old here in the booth. Well, your knowledge and insight into this kind of racing has been fantastic. I know that Scott and myself have enjoyed having you in the booth, so thank you for bringing your insight. Yeah, no, absolutely. And a big career ahead then for Evan Slater, but a big moment about to happen for Thomas Annunziata. Another name for the future, as he's done what he tried to do last year. He came third last year, but this year it's going to be a checkered flag, but we're going to go one more lap by the looks of it. Cameron Lawrence, who came in at the last minute, remember. Cameron's got a good bunch of races under his belt in Trans Am over the years. And there is the checkered flag. I forgot it was at the far end, but yep, he takes it, and that's a great win for him. But Cameron Lawrence also, great story, coming in for Bup at the last minute when he pulled out. And so Lawrence was not expected to be on the podium, but he's got it. Austin Green, the 22-year-old, also gets a great podium. But more importantly, we have a new champion of Trans Am TA2. The Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series has been won by the one and only, the youngest ever in the history of Trans Am. His name is Brent Cruz. Write it down, get the t-shirt, get the autograph, because Brent Cruz is going to be a household name if he isn't already. Big moment for Brent, and whether he was trying to be, you know, well, he was being a typical teenager when we spoke to him this morning, but you do not have the confidence you have when you're fully 100% fit. He had a nasty, I mean, I saw his foot. It's massive. He's got a big bruising. And I've played a lot of soccer, you know, on hurt ankles, and there's nothing worse because it swells up and there's nothing you can do about it.
And they really don't know what they have to do with it because it just happened really in the last 48 hours. So for him, certainly, you know, because there's always a question mark in your mind. But I mean, the adrenaline, as he was very calm when we talked to him this morning, he goes, you know what, the adrenaline will take over, and certainly it will. But, you know, now after today, the ride home on the airplane, it will probably be painful. But you know what, you'll be looking at a trophy sitting there beside you. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, he'll be fine with that. And Evan, as a fellow teenager, you've got to take your hat off to Brent Cruz. He's done everything right. I mean, if you were looking for somebody to be inspired by, that's the guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing really good. Super consistent, super fast. He's done everything you need to be a champion. So, yeah, I mean, he definitely deserves this championship, and I feel great for him. Obviously, I'd like to be in that position too, but congratulations to him.
Amazing just to see the young talent coming in here, as we know, the young guns, as we're calling it. But I guess because I haven't watched all this recently, and I'm just starting to get back involved and watching it a little bit. But, you know, the influx of NASCAR, not only the drivers, but I see it looks like there's NASCAR, you know, people coming in as crew members and engineers and what have you. I mean, this sport has changed in the last couple of years, and it's really, as all these guys are talking about, it's a training ground for NASCAR. So just bigger and better in the future here, and more young talent coming through here, and what a great place to do it. And you're racing at a Formula One racetrack. How many Trans Am drivers thought they'd be at COTA racing on a racetrack that had Formula One cars here just a very short amount of time ago? And sometimes justice doesn't do this well. 130 feet of elevation change here at this racetrack.
And we welcome back our MAV TV viewers. And yeah, Scott, you were making a very good point here earlier. We've been talking about the crossover. We just spoke to Brian Keselowski. Obviously, we've got young drivers who are signed up with Toyota. And that, of course, is our new champion, Brent Cruz, at just 15 years of age. Connor Zillich is also looking that way. And now NASCAR, Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, all looking at this championship. And why? Because we run road courses. That's what we do. NASCAR now run road courses. They come to Circuit of the Americas in March. So this is one of the tracks. Watkins Glen is another. Road America. These are places where these guys are going to cut their teeth. So if you can go well in Trans Am, not that different a car, and I'm sure, Evan, is that some ambition of yours to try to get to NASCAR?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'd love to drive anything I can. NASCAR is obviously a great option. I'd love to drive those cars. Really, anything I could drive, I would love to. So these cars, from what I've heard, drive very similar to NASCAR Cup cars, like the new ones. So these cars are great for the drivers to learn and get development and get experience in a car like that. So then when they transition to NASCAR, they can really be strong.
Well, Austin's green dad was an Xfinity champion back in the day, but when you hear the names like Haley and Christopher Bell, all of them have come through. Silver Hair have trained some of them. Now we're seeing Nitro Motorsports do the same. They've got a winner and a champion here this weekend. So all the eyes focused now on this Trans Am Series, which is the longest road running series since 1966 here in the USA. So it really does have a lot of credit and a lot going for it. It's gone through some ups and downs over the years, but it really is back in an amazing position now, and really starting to grow young talent. And that's not to take anything away from Merrill, because I know, having spoken to Thomas Merill, he goes over and talks with Brent Cruz and with the other youngsters that are coming through and joining the championship. He enjoys the coaching side of it. And I don't know if you've spoken to Merrill, but there's guys, they're open to talk to you, aren't they?
Yeah, I love Merrill. I was talking to Merrill yesterday. He's just so open. If you have any questions, you can always ask Merrill. He's a great guy, super good data coach. I haven't been coached by him because I don't drive on his team, but the team he works with, he coaches those guys really well, and he's really accomplished in that. He's obviously a very accomplished driver, and he's nice to everybody to talk to.
Let's take a look at the classification then of the race. Thomas Annunziata wins, more importantly, his first Trans Am TA2 race for Nitro Motorsports in the Ford Mustang. Cameron Lawrence is second for the Nakato Avrit SLR M1. Well done to Scott Lagacy's team. And Austin Green for the Three-Dimensional Services Group takes third. Brent Cruz wins the championship with a fourth place. A good, solid fourth place. Kept out of trouble. Great result for Adam Andretti, all the way up to fifth place. Waited his moment and got there. Ethan Barker takes sixth place. Great result for him. Boris Said Jr. finishes his season on a high in seventh. Ben Mayer eighth. Great result for him too, again for Nitro Motorsports. Just 15 years of age. Another big name coming up, beating a two-time champion in Rafa Matos, who made it from the back to ninth. Thad Moffitt, one of the top guys, another guy starting out just a little bit older than those youngsters I mentioned, but on his way up and following in the Petty tradition. LaPaglia, fastest in, it looks like, the West Coast, and may well just tip it from Goble. Lostowski finishes 12th, Merrill 13th, Atwell, Guthrie, Young, Carroll, Romberg 18th, Brody Goble, there you see him. He was leading the West Coast, but does finish 19th. It's going to be nip and tuck between those two. My math's not good enough, but we'll decide it when we find out. Tim Lynn in 20th position for Roof Options. And then a little further down, Roy Fulmer the fourth, another Californian who races in the West Coast. J.C. Menet likewise does the same. Doug Winston, 23rd. Bob Ricardo Jr. in 24th. McAllister, Nathan Hearn, after what was such a great race, finishes in 26th position after that turnaround. Abate, 27, she had a pit stop. Nesbitt, Gray, and Mock, who we saw parked up there for Nitro Motorsports. Further down, Sheehan, Hingarani, Goitberg, he also involved in an incident. Tyler Gonzalez running right at the sharp end, but will finish 34th. Prochuk, he pulled out as well. Doug Peterson, you saw an interview with him. Caleb Bacon, Sarche, Kelly, and Bowes, all non-finishers in this race of 46 starters. Ruck went out early, Zillich went out early, Durbin, Caton, Perrin, and McAvoy. Wow. Well, Customers Bank came on board this year. I think we've given them something to look at, because I know that that is right up there with some of the best races we've had in Trans Am in the last few years. And if you were up there on the tower, you got a cracking view of it. But what a time to remember. 2023, the season that Brent Cruz cracked through. We've got Ernie Francis Jr., who took on several titles in TA, now in single-seaters, funnily enough, and in Indy next. Has so much choices. But don't forget, Circuit of the Americas will be shown on MAV TV, the highlights of that race you just saw for the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2. That'll be Thursday, this Thursday, November 9th at 8 p.m. And that'll be followed immediately by the race coming up later today, and that is TA, XGT, SGT, and GT, and that one at 9 p.m. So plenty. Thursday nights is your Trans Am night. Settle back on MAV TV, your place for motor racing. So Nick Tucker, obviously the man of the moment, chief engineer to Brent Cruz. Let's go down to Brent Sissel. He's got with him.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Nitro Motorsports, who I guess unofficially just won a championship in the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers. Mr. Tucker, I saw you coming in high-fiving everybody. That's got to feel really good.
Oh, it really does. What a team effort. Without the people behind us, this wouldn't be possible. We got great crew members. We got great part suppliers and sponsors and drivers and families, and everyone came together and we got it done.
Nice. Now, not just Brent Cruz, though. Thomas Annunziata, what a performance from him. Just staying there around the top 3, 4, just kind of sitting there circling like a shark, and then when things happen, he just kind of pounced.
Thomas made it happen. He's been up front all year. It was just a matter of time. He's just an incredible driver and got it done today. What a great way to cap off the day.
Now, you guys kind of came in last year with kind of what I would consider to be like a soft opening into the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 series. About midway through last season, you're like, I want to win a championship in this series, and you assembled the right people, got the right drivers, and made it happen.
Yeah, what a blessing, right? Just all the right things came together and put us in this place, and what can I say? It's just an incredible group of people that made it happen.
Nice. Well, Nick, congratulations. Unbelievable. Let's come over here and talk to some drivers. So check this out. Thomas Annunziata right here. Hey, Thomas Annunziata. Here's Dad's coming in to congratulate him. Nick Tucker, how cool is this? Thomas Annunziata, Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series winner, Circuit of the Americas. How does this feel?
It's amazing. I mean, it's been a long time coming. We've had speed all year, but the luck hasn't been with us. A lot of things out of our control that ended our race early. The pole at NOLA, I think we could have won that or should have won that. That didn't happen. We crossed the line first at Detroit, got a penalty afterwards, and we had to speed the rest of the year, but things weren't going our way, so I'm glad to end the year with a bang and ready for 2024.
Now, strategically thinking, watching the race, you were just right there behind all the melee happening in front of you for lap after lap between Merrill and Hearn and Zillich, just kind of in the right seat. Did you know something would eventually come to you, or were you just trying to be in the right place at the right time?
I knew something was going to happen. Hearn's fighting for his first win as well, and he was really aggressive, and he was burning the tires off of it. And Merrill was also burning his tires, racing him, and they banged the wheels like multiple times. So I knew something was going to happen, and eventually, as the race goes on, the tension's going to rise. So I was just waiting for my moment. I found it, picked it, and took the lead.
Nice job. Congratulations, Thomas Annunziata. Another congratulations goes to our provisional champion, ladies and gentlemen, Brent Cruz, 15-year-old, I believe our youngest champion ever. How does that feel?
It feels great. The team worked hard all year. Rookie year, we were able to come in third, and I knew what I needed to do as from my perspective and how to get the car kind of to make sure we ran every race, and then being able for me to finish every race, I think is the main way to be a champion, and that's what I learned last year.
Now, what does this mean to you going forward? I know that you're talking to a lot of different teams, a lot of different series, but this has got to be a big feather in your cap. For all the championships that you've won in your young career, this has got to feel really good.
Yeah, it feels great. I think it's in the highest car, obviously, so that's a plus, and being able to work with Nitro Nick. I grew up with him from 5 years old on, racing go-karts with him, winning championships there, winning the biggest races in go-karting, and then coming in this professional series, obviously, against the best drivers and best teams, and being able to have success here, win races, and win championships is a dream come true.
Now, one thing that I love about this Nitro family is that it is a big family, and I saw your mom at, I think, every single race, your stepdad at every race. So cool to see that kind of encouragement, but also I think everybody on your crew kind of treats you like a son. Is that what Nick has developed here with Nitro?
Yeah, for sure, and it's cool to get all the crew guys around that I grew up with as well. So being able to have pretty much a dream team, and then being able to see my teammate Thomas win, so that's super cool, and I think that'll be official. So having teammates that are able to find success as much as I do, and being able to succeed, I think is what Nitro does best. It's always a team effort. It's never a one-man team.
Now, be honest with me now. Look me in the eye here, because I'm not used to seeing you comfortable with running third, fourth, a whole race. Were you running that whole race with a championship in mind, or were you just kind of down on something?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely went into the race wanting to win, but I realized that I kind of went into the same mindset at VIR, and it kind of cost me. So just being able to pretty much be calm and try to run third or fourth was the goal. And then if Thomas Merill won, then we'd still able to win the championship. So being able to kind of coast and then be aggressive when needed, I think was the name of the game. And the leaders got super aggressive. Hearn was trying to do the best he could and ended up taking people out. So being able to come home and finish fourth, I think, is what we needed to do.
Unbelievable, especially from the young guns. For a 15-year-old to be able to be patient like that, ladies and gentlemen, like Brent Cruz, and run for a championship, that really shows the maturity. Brent, can't wait to see what happens in your career, man. Austin Green here, Three-Dimensional Services Group, I believe our provisional Rookie of the Year. Austin, how does that feel?
Oh, it's great for the first year in Trans Am, come out Rookie of the Year. Just huge thanks to everybody at Peterson Racing, Three-Dimensional Services Group. You know, it's been a tough year. It was a tough race. You know, definitely had a top 10 car, not a top 3 car. It was just fighting title race. So super excited for next year. And hopefully we'll come back here next year and win the thing.
Nice. I love it. Congratulations. We got to come over here and talk to Michael LaPaglia. Always the most well-dressed team on the West Coast. And yeah, but I like that. And I'm missing the guy with the mustache, though. But how does it feel?
It feels incredible. I mean, like, I can't even describe it. Our first national TA2 race out here representing the West Coast. And we had a grid penalty yesterday and started 44th. And to stay out of the carnage on all the restarts, make a bunch of passes, and to end up 11th was just incredible. And to win the West Coast sanction here at COTA is just like unbelievable. I would have never guessed it going into that race, starting 44th. So just drove aggressive and just kept it together, really.
Now, we spoke a couple days ago, and you were planning on running your SGT car as well. So are you still doing that? You still doing another 100-mile race today?
Oh, yeah, I have that coming up after lunch. So I got to go rehydrate, get a little food in me, and we'll be back out there in the SGT Mustang. So, yeah.
Congratulations, Michael LaPaglia. Let's talk to Brody Goble. We talked to him earlier. Brody, unbelievable race out there. You were on camera quite a bit. What did you learn from that race running with this national series?
Yeah, it was a tough race for us just because that Western Championship kind of, laying over our head a little bit there. So I had a few times where I really wanted to push and go forward, and it was just thought better of it. There was cars crashing all around us. Had a drive-through penalty about halfway through there, or 3/4 of the way through. And yeah, it was for jumping the start. So I didn't think I did at the time, but we served that penalty, went to the back of the field, and then made, finally a little bit of a charge there for the final lap or two, and got back to the podium. So it was a really good run back after that penalty, but kind of took us out of of the mix at least today for the national race. So yeah, for sure.
But you did well, and you came in one piece. Nice job, Brody. Well, let me go one more real quick because we got to talk to Cameron Lawrence from Austin, Texas. And Cameron Lawrence, you come into the TA2 series, you win a championship, you leave for a while. You come back, you win a championship, you leave for a while. You come back here this time, and Mr. Bupp, I got to say, Indy on the podium. Now your car's on the podium back at COTA in your hometown. Your wife is expecting. This has got to be a crazy year for you.
Yeah, I had a good year all year long. This was a super last-minute thing, keep kind of getting dragged back into this whole thing. But huge thanks to Mr. Ellis and them, everybody at Avery Express. It was really all them that gave me the call. Hopefully Jordan's doing all right and the family. Haven't seen him in a while, but I'm bummed that this is the way it had to happen. But at the same time, it was cool to work with the M1 guys and Scott and Lee and everybody that worked on the car this weekend. So I've known all these guys a long time. It's the last car that I haven't driven yet, so I've driven pretty much all the chassis now, worked with everybody in the paddock, and it's been really fun. This was a really good car. Qualifying didn't go our way. The beginning of the race didn't really go our way, and then kind of the heavens opened up there, and we went from nowhere to first, and then I made a rookie mistake and gave it up. So, it was a bit of a fun race at the end there. Wish we could have run it out to the green. Got kind of stymied by that late yellow also. Was going to make a move, but all in all, good weekend. Thanks for everything these guys did, and fun one race, one off there.
Congratulations, Cameron Lawrence. Jonathan, back to you in the booth.
Great stuff, Ben, as always, and just a couple of confirmations. Yes, that jump start, I wasn't sure what they were pinged for, but 4 drivers in the West Coast Championship pinged for jumping the start, or the restart should be, and so that's why Brody Goble did come in for that drive-through. But he still got third, and I think that still gives him the championship. But I can confirm the top 3 in the West Coast Championship. Michael LaPaglia, Tim Carroll in second, and Brody Goble in third. We've still got Evan Slater and Scott Goodyear here. Guys, as we kind of take a breath from what was an enticing and electrifying end to the year, what I love about that is that mix of Cameron Lawrence, a 2-time champion in Trans Am. You've got Rafa Matos in the mix, Andretti, big experience, and yet we're all talking about these youngsters. And Lanciata, you can see the emotion from the dad and from him and Nitro Motorsports, and you can also see the crossover that we were talking about earlier with NASCAR.
And we talk about youngsters, obviously, in the series that I operate with, the F4 and the FR, we expect the youngsters. They come out of karts and they're 15 and they come into cars and we're training them at the same age. We've never had these youngsters in Trans Am. And you were expecting these drivers in their mid-20s or early 30s. I mean, especially the era that I grew up in. And then all of a sudden now, like I said before, to come over here and see the youngsters and a 17-year-old sitting beside me, I mean, it's really interesting to see the opportunity that Trans Am is now providing for these drivers to focus on getting some experience for road course racing that makes them more saleable and more valuable to the NASCAR series. That's what I see what's happening in this series right now, and I think it's going to grow from there.
But Evan, it's more than that, because yes, NASCAR is a big heady dream, and so would Formula One be. But aspirationally, why do you like? I mean, just in terms of why do you like driving these cars?
I mean, I love driving these cars because the cars themselves are fun to drive. They're big, heavy stock cars, so they're just a blast to drive. And they're big body cars and they're heavy, so you can bump into people. You can do rub and racing. You can you can drive them hard. You can race really close. So that makes it really fun. And then there's also so many people, like so many good drivers in here, that it makes it so you have to improve. And then the more good drivers there are, everybody that thinks they're a good driver wants to come drive here to prove that they are. So then it just adds more and more and more good drivers. So then it just becomes like a series where like 46 car fields of all great drivers. So it's just awesome to drive in.
Well, that summed it up perfectly. My thanks to Scott Goodyear and obviously to Evan Slater. Let's head down once again to Ben Sissel as we're about to get the podium underway.
All right, Jonathan, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it. Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series here at the Mission Foods Austin Speed Tour. Unbelievable racing out there. We are going to start with the National Series, the Pro-Am. Let's hear it. Number 98, Doug Winston. Come on now. Doug Winston would bring back the trades, and Doug, much better finish than a couple years ago. You got to get on that top step, though, Doug. You can come up here. Come on, guys. Let's hear Doug Winston, Pro-Am. Man, nice job. This has got to feel good.
It feels good. It does feel good to finish because we had nothing but trouble all weekend. Transmission was out of the car twice. We had low fuel pressure the last 10 laps, so we barely finished today. But we finished. We started at Sebring with a win. We ended with a win, so not a bad season.
Nice.
We'll take it.
Nice. I love it. Let's hear it. Doug Winston. Come on now, one more time. Pro-Am, Doug Winston. Look at that. Doug, so happy to have you out here with Fast Auto. Been running with us for a few seasons here with Adrian Lostovsky's operation. All right, now I need you guys to get loud because this dude has so much energy. He was with us at Watkins Glen. He was with us at Sebrings. Let's hear it. Masters, TA2, Bruce Nesbitt. Come on now. The knob with the brain. Limp up here, but just kidding. He does the Willy Wonka thing. I love it. It's easier to start on the number 2, but, you know, whatever you want to do. Bruce Nesbitt, man, I love having you out at these events. TA2 Masters, that's got to feel good.
What's this now? Oh, Mike, let me tell you, nobody can appreciate a crew like I do. These guys and gals put up with so much. Raise your hands back there. Let's say, look, there's my guys, Joe and Zach, Robbie, my wife, and Matt, the truck driver. Let's salute the truck drivers, folks. All right, all right. Well, the SCCA has really provided a venue for guys like me. There's many of us that have raced for like 60 years, come and think of it. But this is really pro racing. It's tough racing. It's no joke. It's the real deal. Thank you, SCCA.
Nice. All right, hold that up, Bruce. Don't go too far yet. Hold that up for Chris. Let's hear it one more time. Bruce Nesbitt, ladies and gentlemen. And Bruce, you said it at Watkins Glen, but how old are you? Do you mind saying that again?
82 years of young.
Nice. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Bruce Nesbitt, Masters, ladies and gentlemen, 82 years young. I wish I had that kind of energy. Bruce, congratulations. Nice job. Congratulations. I love your energy. I wish our president of the same age had that kind of energy. Let's go with, ladies and gentlemen, the podium for the National Series, the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series. Provisionally our Rookie of the Year in TA2 Racing with Three Dimensional Services Group. His family's here, so you got to get loud. Let's hear it. Austin Green, ladies and gentlemen, 3rd place. We go from Austin to Austin because this man is from Austin, Texas, where we are. He is a 2-time TA2 champion. Is that correct? I'm looking for him. Let's hear it. Cameron Lawrence, 2nd place. And he told me in the interview now that he has raced a Howe, an M1, and a Cope chassis. And this happened because Mr. Bupp couldn't come, so he gave his car to Cameron Lawrence, and Cameron Lawrence had a great race. And then in 1st place, he has been there this whole time, this whole season. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen, Nerd Energy, Thomas Annunziata. With Nitro Motorsports. 3 different teams up here on the podium with the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series. Austin, back up on the podium with this. This has got to feel good.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great way to end out the year. You know, top 3 is great. I think we struggled a little bit there in the beginning, and then had a little problem with the rear end there at the end. But just thank the good Lord. Thank Mr. Peterson. I don't know if he's here, but yeah, Mr. Peterson, all the guys at Three Dimensional Services Group, all the men and women at Peterson Racing, and excited for next year.
Nice. Austin Green, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Cameron Lawrence, you have a weird relationship with the TA2 Series. You come in, you win championships, then you ghost us for a while, then you come back in. Welcome back to the TA2 Series. Great to see you back up on the podium.
Thanks. Yeah, it's keep getting dragged back into this, it seems like, but it's usually fun racing. The cars are some of the best cars out there for sure. Definitely thanks to Mr. Ellis and the Everett Express guys for making the call for me to be out here. Helps being local. Love racing here and being sleep at home. But yeah, hopefully everything's all right with the Bupps. You know, we missed Jordan. Wish he was here. But thanks to Scotty and all these guys, Lee, everybody gave me a great car all weekend. just kind of trying to work through things and learn how they operate. But yeah, it was a good race. Excited for the year to be done and go have a baby and relax for a few months and get back into it.
Nice, I love it. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen. Cameron Lawrence back in the TA2 series. And then Thomas Annunziata. Man, well-deserved victory. Great fight. Great to see you on the top step. Take the mic, tell us about your race.
Well, it was definitely an interesting one. We started fifth and stayed fifth for a little while, but the guys in front of me were starting to burn their tires, and Hearn's also looking for his first win, so he was definitely aggressive, and they were burning their tires off, so it made it definitely interesting at the end. There was a wreck at the end, and then me and Cameron ended up racing for the win, and I just barely hung on to it, but I'm so thankful for these Nitro guys, Brian Kozlowski, Nick Tucker, Cody, I can't think of names right now, but everyone under Nitro Motorsports for doing this for me and giving me this opportunity. We've been looking for this for a while, and we've been so close so many times, so I'm happy to get the monkey off my back and take my first victory at the end of the season, and I can't wait for 2024. Congrats to Brent Cruz on his championship, my teammate. Austin Green for the Rookie of the Year championship, that's awesome stuff. And to be 1-2 with Cameron Lawrence, the guy who I was calling at the end of the year, last year for advice, is really cool. It's special. So thank you, everyone. Good job.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it. Austin Green, Cameron Lawrence, Thomas Annunziata.
After West Coast, that'll be last.
All right, Austin, Texas. This is the home of live music. You've got to get a lot louder than that. Come on now, Austin. Austin Green, Cameron Lawrence, Thomas Annunziata. Jimmy live on the scene is loud. I like that.
The West Coast guys next.
Yeah.
Michael's in the next race.
Okay.
Got 35 guys.
That's crazy. Oh yeah, who wants some hats, ladies and gentlemen? We got some hats to throw out here, some beautiful Motul hats. Come on now. Yeah. All right, we gotta get this moving though, because we got a driver that's coming up that's in the next race. All right, come on now, Austin, get loud. Austin Green, Cameron Lawrence, Thomas Annunziata. Congratulations, gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to now go to the West Coast TA2 Series, the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series West Coast Edition. Really hard fought all year long. Really fun to keep up with this group. A really fun group to be a part of. In third place, all the way from British Columbia. Let's hear it. Brody Goble, ladies and gentlemen. Brody has been in the fight for the championship all season long. In second place, where is he? Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Tim Carroll. Here he is. I love it. Tim, it's good to see you back after Laguna Seca. That was quite a shunt at Laguna Seca. And then, ladies and gentlemen, how many cars did he pass? He passed 35 cars in this race. Let's hear it. The most well-dressed team in the TA2 Series, Michael LaPaglia. And we got to hurry with this one because Michael's out in his SGT car next with Trans Am. Brody back up on the podium. Probably not the finish you wanted in the West Coast, but you were here to just kind of see how everything shook out.
Yeah, it was an interesting deal out there, kind of focusing on that West Coast Championship, but trying to run, we started 12th place there up with the national guys and trying to be smart about it. So, yeah, it was tough. Yeah, it was half of me wanted to go forward and the other half of me trying to be smart out there. And I'm just happy that we're able to fight back for third place in the West Coast race and 18th overall. So it was a good, fun weekend. And congrats to Michael today for pulling out that win. That's awesome.
Nice. Brody Goble, ladies and gentlemen, and anytime you can finish in the top 20 TA2 Series, that shows some talent and skill. Tim Carroll, good to see you back since WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. And then, second place in West Coast. That's got to feel good.
Well, it's actually our first time up on the box, so we're super pumped about that one. And last night in qualifying, we exploded a transmission, and we were up all night until 1 o'clock. And it helped with the M1 guys and Andrew's transmission. We got it put in last night. And my Bruce and Scott, my team guys, it was awesome.
Nice. Let's hear it. Tim Carroll. And then Michael LaPaglia. Take the mic. Tell us about your race out there.
Oh, well, you know, I just I started 44th, and I really just had nothing to lose. It was as simple as that. I didn't want to tear the car up. I wanted to bring it home in one piece and just try to stay out of the carnage and make as many passes as I can. My little guy told me to sneak through the window, like they say on Cars 3, so that's all I did. I just tried to take advantage of every opportunity I had to make a pass, and definitely left a couple out on the table, surprisingly, but it was a great race. Super happy to finish, position 11 in the whole series, and then take the win here in West Coast. It's my first one in the West Coast Series, so stoked to do it here in COTA. Awesome track, awesome facility. I'd just like to thank everyone that helps us out. The Pampini brothers take care of the car. Actually, they're not here. They're up with the SGT car. I have to jump in that in a few minutes. There's one of them. They do everything for me and just take care of it, make sure the cars are race ready. I really appreciate that. And of course, my family, from my father-in-law to my grandpa and my parents, my kids, my wife, everybody that comes out and supports. And, on the West Coast, we have some great competitors. 2 of them standing right by me. It's been fun racing with these guys, and really looking forward to getting a little more serious next year and coming back for some more. So thank you.
All right, crowd, get loud. Brody Goble, Tim Carroll, Michael LaPaglia, Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series West Coast edition. A super fun edition. Here comes Mike Dowling back here to give the hats. And we might not want to spray the winner with champagne because he's got to get in a race car here soon. Come on, crowd, one more time. Brody Goble, Tim Carroll, Michael LaPaglia, Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series West Coast. I love it. All right, so Michael, you need to take off, buddy. All right, come on. We'll see you in just a few minutes back on track. Nice job, everybody. You guys are excused. Sorry. Oh, we're going to do some wine. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if Tim and Brody... Oh, not going to be polite at all, ladies and gentlemen. Brody Goble going right for it, looking for shelter. Congratulations, guys. Nice job. Thank you so much for coming out to the Mission Foods Austin Speed Tour. All right, so you want to go to... Are we out? We out? Okay. Back up to you.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, great stuff. And boy, busy schedule here as the Lone Star flag flies high. But more to come. We're going to take a short break from the Speed Tour. But thanks for tuning in on MAV TV. And just a reminder, we have a brand new champion, the youngest ever in Trans Am history since it began in 1966. His name is Brent Cruz. You can watch all the highlights on MAV TV on Thursday at 8 p.m. for TA2 and on TA on November 9th at 9 p.m. So don't miss out. Until then, from me, Jonathan Green, goodbye for now.
I drive a truck for Clean Harbor. Now make no mistake, it's hard work. It takes a lot of focus, and you have to know your vehicle's limitations. And more than anything, you have to drive to win.
Nice driving, Thad. If you want to drive for a winning team, give Clean Harbors a call at 1-833-32-DRIVE. Visit driveforthebest.com. They have the vehicles and the compensation for every kind of truck driver. And everyone drives home a winner.